smothered entrees, only at Fridays.
This is what you play for. This is what you live for.
Are you ready? Here we go.
It's the time of year when you got to give your body up and sacrifice it no matter what the cost is. This is just a war of attrition. Who's going to survive?
You love the regular season, but the playoffs just are so spectacular.
The NHL on ABC, brought to you by Bud Light, the proud supporter of the NHL. IBM taking e-business and your business to the next level. The new generation in digital communications, WorldCom Generation D. And Jeep, makers of Grand Cherokee, Cherokee, and Wrangler.
Here in Buffalo, the puck about to be dropped. Primo, Fedoruk, and P.J. Stock, an ornery starting line for Philadelphia.
That line for Philadelphia. You can pick them, and that's why we're in a game 6 here, one game difference. So Fedoruk, Stock, Primo, they're going to do some banging. On the other side, you've got Barnes, Shatan. They're going to try and counter that with a little goal scoring. So we'll see which one works.
J.P. Dumont, Stu Barnes, and Shatan. McKee and Warrener, the defense. Therrien on defense, along with Eric Desjardins, the captain of the Flyers. And no sooner do we start than we stop. Puck played by a high stick.
Well, let's look at the two coaches here. Billy Barber, I said it before, is my pick for Coach of the Year. I think he's done a fabulous job with Philadelphia, overcome a lot of injuries, overcame the Lindros situation, kept his team focused, and got them playing very, very well. Lindy Ruff continually does a great job. His team is one of the best defensive teams in hockey. They won the Jennings Trophy again for lowest goals against. They added some good players at the deadline, getting Audette and Hines for some more scoring. But the biggest move so far in the playoffs was Keith Primo coming back in Game 3. I think it completely changed the way this series has been going.
P.J. Stock started Game 5. Wasn't out there long. He wasn't out there long this afternoon. The first change has been made 9 seconds in. Gagne and Recchi are now flanking Primo. A little different sort of skill.
Well, Stock and Fedoruk got to work in the conditioning about so long that you stay out of 9 seconds.
I think it was a message. Well, on with this now. And crossing and being spun was Rasmussen. Oh, and a healthy hit on Desjardins from him. Floats off there from Therrien as he tied his man up and banged him to the boards. Now it is Zhitnik turning it back on. Brought back in by Václav Barada. Pretty tough guy himself. Patrick a shot that ricocheted. Barada flicked it back to the corner. The message that Stock was sending in Game 5 was directed at Barada. He won't change. Patrick a shot deflected, and it went wide off of Desjardins. Lobbed back along again for Primo and brought on by Gagne. Crisply over to Mark Recchi. Recchi taken out of the play by Zhitnik, and it's swept around by Dominic Hasek. A bump by Primo, but the carry back out by Curtis Brown. Lobbed back in by Dumont, and another change being made now by Buffalo.
Obviously, Rasmussen was playing tonight. He's been out with an injury, so that's a good addition for Buffalo. He's fast. He made that great play in Game 1 on the overtime goal, so it's a good addition, him back in the lineup for Buffalo.
It was a shoulder problem for Rasmussen. Meanwhile, it's thrown on by Warrener, bounced back off of Langkow, and so the probing stage begins now. The hitting stage began pretty close to the start of this one. Forced on by Leclerc, but an offside. Well, let's hear from the third man on our crew this afternoon, Joe Micheletti.
Okay, Doc, thanks very much. You know, Buffalo coach Lindy Ruff told me before the game that he felt the key for his team to win this was going to be puck pressure in this game. They didn't have it. They were a step behind in game number 5. The other thing he'd like to see, a little more goal scoring from some of his key players, including Donald Audette, Stu Barnes, Dumont. Those players have just a total of 2 goals in the series thus far. Mike?
Energy and urgency was how Bill Barber described what he was going to tell his players before the game.
Well, if they don't have urgency, being 1 game away from elimination, they're never going to have urgency. This team has to win. They know it. They want to go back to Philadelphia. They earned that last home ice advantage by winning the last game of the season against the Sabres. So we'll see if we can get the job done today for Philadelphia.
Sabres go with Hines, Gilmore, and Donald Audette, and Gilmore backed into his man Michael Sikora. Brought back ahead by Donald Audette. Charges up the wing and shoots one that got the glass. Karam back around for control by the defense of Woolley. Got it around behind for a feed that bounced off the Flyer defense. Worked back back ahead to center now, and spiked back in by Woolley. Woolley has been a healthy scratch in this series, but he's in that lineup today.
Don't forget, when they went to the finals a few years ago, Woolley was one of the most important defensemen they had on the team. He ran the power play, and so he's back in the lineup now, very motivatedly back in the lineup. Goaltending in this series, we thought it was going to be unbelievable. We thought these guys would put up numbers with a lot of zeros. Hasn't been the case at all. Only Arthur Zerbe has worse goals against record than these two Czech goaltenders. Czechmanic 7th worst, Hasek 6th worst. You've got to give the teams in front of them a little bit of credit. They're going, they're putting traffic in front of these two goaltenders. But I think everyone who's watched this series would say that they haven't been the dominant goaltenders that they were during the regular season.
For the first time ever in his career, Dominik Hasek has given up 3 goals in consecutive games, 4 in a row.
That's unbelievable. He's never done that before. That's unbelievable.
But the one thing in his favor was he was angry at the end of last game, and Dominik has a way of paying back that's a little different than perhaps what Todd Fedoruk would do. Shot score! Dave Andreychuk! And it's 1-0.
Well, I'd like to see this again because I think it must have been tipped in front. I'll be surprised if Czechmanic let the initial shot by Andreychuk go in. Chetan's in front of the net where he should be, right there. Chetan throws to Andreychuk. Andreychuk just shoots it. And it looks like it hit one of the players in front of the net. Let's look at it again, see if it's tipped. No, I don't think Grattan got a piece of that. I think that won right in. Let's look at the Southwest Airline goal cam, see if we can pick up a deflection. No, I think that puck went straight in by Andreychuk's shot. It just looks like Czechmanic totally misplayed the wrist shot by Andreychuk from the half wall. That's Chetan. I think Andreychuk took the shot, not Chetan. So Czechmanic just looked like he misplayed the initial shot from the wall.
Parada, and that one just wide. Oh, is this crowd ever responsive now?
That's a nightmare for the visiting team. You want to get the first goal in the other team's building to take this crowd out of it. So it has really backfired so far for the Philadelphia Flyers the first 4 or 5 minutes of this game.
You have to think the 18,000 who are now chanting Roman in a sing-song fashion who came here thought it would be some sort of a flurry around the net that would result in the first Buffalo goal that they wanted to cheer for. But it was a surprise.
Look at Buffalo hound the puck now, Mike. This is how Buffalo plays when they're playing well.
Here's Recchi moving in. Save made by Hasek. Recchi spun it behind. James Patrick took it there. Patrick closed off on a check from Gagne. Recchi run off by Zhitnik. Gagne behind the goal. Fed one in front, came all the way between the point men and down. Now Sikora lobs it back in. Jay McKee, hero of last Saturday's game, flipped that one back ahead. Brought back on by Stu Barnes, and the Stu chant goes up. Nice denial by Michael Sikora. Flicked back out again by Langkow. Drubbed back on by McKee. Luke Richardson stashed it on back. Good shoulder check across the way by Dumas. Everybody's a little bit bigger with that 1-0 lead. Playing back along to Tocchet.
I was a lot better coach with a 1-0 lead. I know that, Mike. I really got good when we were up 2-0. I became a genius if you're ever winning 3-0.
Here's Barnes with a pass across. Langkow walks it back in. Bennett on the wing, but a stoppage of play. Offside is called.
Well, overlooking and reviewing that goal one more time, I think Grattan did touch it. He's been a big factor for this team in the series. Right off the bat, you see this shot through the wickets of Czechmanic. Shot from the point. Grattan is a big horse in front of the net. Very tough to move. No one picked him up there. He got that one. Again, great play here. Power play goal. Great shot upstairs. Now let's look at the one tonight. Andreychuk shoots it at the net. Now right there. Oh, man. Just touches it with the shaft or with the blade of his stick and just changes the direction enough that it goes by Czechmanic rather than right into the Philadelphia Flyer there. So Grattan, it looks like, got his 4th goal of the series.
No former Flyer has ever scored more than 2 goals against his old team in a playoff series, and Grattan has done it, as Barry mentioned, 4 times. Andreychuk and Chetan come up with the assists. Time of the goal, 2:23. The pitchfork move causes it to go back deep. Therrien connects back over to Desjardins.
That is so huge that Grattan's playing well for Buffalo. A big physical man like that. He's in there to bang people. He's in there to win physical battles. And he's kicking in goals too, boy. Just like Primo with Philadelphia. That's huge for the team.
Puck out of play.
Well, he was a traveler in his career. He's been with a couple teams twice. He's been to Tampa Bay and back. Now he's in Buffalo. He'd love to stay here. 96 to 2000. Look at that. 2 goals in 16 playoff games. So look what he's done this year for the Buffalo Sabres. Always been a guy that everyone loved. He's also been a guy that everyone thought could play a little bit better. So if he could continue with the way he's playing right now, physically, emotionally, strength-wise, plus kicking in goals, boy, would that be a factor come playoff time and if they go any farther against other teams?
Yeah, you notice 6'3", 219. The average in the league is 6'1" and about 205.
He's tough too. He hits you hard. He can fight if he has to. He's an all-around great player.
Pretty good hit by Fedoruk across the way, and Dave Andreychuk took that, and the fans booed.
Well, again, getting back to Grattan, he was a very high pick. He was one of the highest picks the year he came out. And again, he hasn't scored the way people thought he would in the NHL consistently. He has had some good years, good numbers at times, but he's the combination, the physical combination, good on draws, good on defense, and if he's scoring goals too, boy, you've got something special.
Derek Plant, the ex-Sabre. Some jostling, so they'll delay the face-off a little bit longer. Sabres have it, and it's Warrener. Dave Andreychuk sprawled across the way. Meanwhile, it goes back down on Hasek. Tangle for him was with Fedotenko.
It's a big body down the ice, and Dave Andreychuk's on top of you, I'll tell you.
But as goalies have found, it's one that can score from there.
Yes, very well. Very well. Great from the front of the net. Some of the best hands in hockey, Dave Andreychuk. For a long period of time, also.
Icing canceled by Hasek's handling of the puck. Good hit by Grattan on Derek Plant. It kicked off of the Finneganov for a shot, and Hasek didn't see it until the last moment. But he recoiled and blocked it wide. So now Jay McKee. 5.5 minutes played first period. Sure glad you're with us on ABC from Buffalo. Sabres trying to eliminate the Flyers in 6. Gagne brings it back ahead and spins. Lifted back out again by Curtis Brown. Brown has just been outstanding in this series for Buffalo, particularly on faceoffs. Here's a feed in front, and that one guided wide. Plus, he had the overtime winner here earlier in the series. Thrown back ahead. Jason Woolley has been a factor in prior series, as Barry mentioned, and had the overtime winner in the finals.
Well, what Woolley gives you when he's in the lineup, he's a great passer. That first pass, you can put it on tape. That means you're out of your zone in a hurry, and you can get the offense going rather than bring it around the wall like some defensemen. So Woolley will help your transition game when he's in the lineup.
A misfire on the pass from Patrick. Back up the boards, Damon Langkow. Watched by Zhitnik, and that deflected away. Hasek paddles it along. John Leclerc stopped and flipped one in front. That is picked up by Barada. Starts it out. If they hurry, they might get a 3-on-2 out of this. Head across now to Chatan. Or check that for Rasmussen, I beg your pardon. And it's chopped along now by Rick Tocchet. Lead by Leclerc. Fed back to him by Desjardins. Leclerc fakes the big blast. Waits. Played to Tocchet, and the shot was wide. Sent back down the ice by Jason Woolley. McGillis for the touch. Got there. Just ahead of Dumont. 13:06 to go first period. Grattan with a goal. Buffalo leading 1-0.
I'll be right out. Let me just put this Bud Light away.
Hey, Otto. Come on.
Honey, where's Otto? Otto! Otto?
For the great taste that won't fill you up and never lets you down, make it a Bud Light.
We're back. Bill, your whole business is going wireless. Can you retool to keep up? Well, Bob, we have an 18-month infrastructure plan. My guess, you've got 6 months tops. Can you do it? Well, we're evaluating several options. Can you say right here, right now, that you'll be wireless ready in 6 months?
Oh, don't do it, Bill. Remain calm.
Well, if we need to do that, we can do that. There you go. The street's going to hold you to that, Bill.
And that's when it hits you. You are so ready for IBM.
Oh, Bill.
I'm not afraid of the internet. I'm not afraid of hackers.
I'm not afraid that some hacker will steal my documents.
I'm not afraid of companies 10 times larger than us.
I'm not afraid of companies 10 times smaller than us.
I'm not afraid of getting a million hits at once.
I'm not afraid at all.
Let's look at this goal one more time. Philadelphia's got great defense positioning. Plant's doing an excellent job. He can't move Grattan because of his physical strength. But you just see, folks, a little touch of the puck can alter a game, and right now Philadelphia is playing catch-up.
They win this faceoff, though, and a shot by Sikora went wide. Head to the back by Tocchet. Richardson angled it to the corner. Dumont steps to that. And he's able to flip it back down. Richardson goes back after it, and they wave the icing off. Stu Barnes, the forechecker for Buffalo. Pass came on to Leclerc. Jay McKee back.
That's one name you got to start mentioning more is John Leclerc. He's got to start scoring some goals for this team. He's done it his whole career. He's been out a year. He's not playing many games this season. But John Leclerc is one of the keys to this Philadelphia team.
Here's Shatan with a shot, and it's held by Czechmanek, and play hold it again. Let's check in on the other games with John Saunders and John Davidson.
Here with the Dodge Different update. Pittsburgh is struck quickly against Washington. Ferentz gets his first ever playoff goal.
He's a defenseman. He scores. It's the Lemieux line +1. And guess what happens? Here's Ferentz again. Gets the shot on goal. Yager Lemieux. The Lemieux line +2 early. 2-0 is the lead. The Penguins looking to take a 3-2 lead in the series.
Well, everyone thought that history would dictate that it would be fairly easy for Pittsburgh, but there have been only 2 fairly easy series. Those have been sweeps.
Adam Oates has been benched in that series lately, so they won that game without Adam Oates being a big part of it. So that's huge for the Washington Capitals.
Here is Woolley bringing it ahead for Buffalo's defense. Deflected back in by Audette. No matter, it's an offside pass.
Well, Donald Audette is one guy that must score a little bit more. He's got 1 goal in this series. They brought him over here, 2 scored goals. He plays all the power plays, him and Hines. These 2 guys had great seasons. Audette with Atlanta, Hines with Columbus. Now he's got to come in and score some goals for the Buffalo Sabres. The power play has been good. They've scored 3 power play goals in 12 chances. But if you're going to move on, your power play must be good for you in the playoffs. And Audette, Hines, Grattan, Barnes, players like that must pick it up. These guys, to be effective and add something to the team, must score goals.
Donald Audette had 3 match penalties in the course of this season. Nobody else in the NHL did.
He's a fiery little guy. I've seen him do a lot of things in the minors and in the NHL. He sticks his nose in. He's got guts.
Desjardins back for this one. And play halted. Let's take a look at the Bud Light Stanley Cup summary. Tremendous action around the league. When you have 2/3 of the games, and this has never happened in history, 2/3 of the games decided by 1 goal. That's impressive.
Edmonton and Dallas, what, 4 overtimes in 5 games?
Out of 5, and you have nearly a record number of first-round overtime games at 13. Turgeon leads all playoff point getters with 9.
Well, the guts he showed the other night, Mike, getting that puck in the face and cut wide open, comes back, sets up the tying goals, won the draw and the winning goal for St. Louis. So Turgeon, that's what playoffs are all about, folks. McDonald's nose was just about cut off. He comes back and plays a great game for Dallas.
You can't lecture and teach this.
No.
You have to feel the need to sacrifice like that.
Courage of the athletes, playing every 2 nights, playing hurt. Again, if you're not hurt this time of year, you're not playing very hard, folks.
Chitnik's pass ricocheted off of Primo, swept around behind by Hasha. Fired back around, and Mark Recchi there to keep it. Recchi flung one in front, and it clicked back over for Rasmussen, just taps it ahead. Striding to this now is Verratti. He's got a man breaking, but can't get it there to Curtis Brown. McGillis. A second try. Brought back on by Primo. A shot right on Hasha. Primo again behind now for Recchi. Flipped one that went off a pair of Sabres. Right back to Recchi again. Duels with Rasmussen. Came to McGillis. But that one cut off and started back out by Brown. Here's Václav Varada. Sabres in the midst of a change, and Varada lost it.
Again, Brown will play against Primo all night long. Brown, Varada, Rasmussen plays against all the other teams' top scoring line. For him and Primo will get to know each other by the end of the night.
Langkow roared from behind and got it to Tocchet. Banked one in, hoping for Leclerc, and he got it to him, but the pass was just blocked off by the defense. Grabbed off by Therrien now. Therrien with a pass that went off of Grattan. Brought back in now for a big shot by Langkow, and that one went rattling around the glass. Andreychuk taps it on. Brought back ahead by Miroslav Shatan. He's got a man breaking. Shatan does wedge off to the corner by Therrien. The net dislodged, and a stoppage of play. Let's hear from Joe Micheletti.
Okay, Doc, thanks very much. You know, most coaches in the National Hockey League feel that once they come off a victory, they're going to keep their lineup the same, but not this man right here, Bill Barber. He says it all stems from reading a book, and he's not one that reads a lot of books, but he did read one that he felt was very important, and that was on the life of Vince Lombardi, the great NFL football coach for the Green Bay Packers all those years. He said the one message he got out of that was go with your instinct. Don't stand pat because today is another day, and that man right there is in the lineup tonight. That's Todd Fedoruk, and setting out is McCannell. So he decides to go with something that he read about a very good coach, and he's forgetting about yesterday and moving forward today. Doc?
6'2½", 248 pound Todd Fedoruk. His nickname from Bill Barber is the Fridge.
Well, I'm happy Todd Fedoruk's in the lineup, but I really think that a winning team, a winning lineup is a special lineup. There's a reason that lineup won. Good chemistry, good feeling together in that room. So I was a type of coach that never changed a winning lineup. You got in a 10-game winning streak, those guys never got in the lineup until you lost a game.
Hines sees Audette with it, tried to get it to Gilmore. Back to Hines. Hines bet one, and it's blocked off by Chet Money. Looked like he might have had a pass, but Gilmore was pretty well watched. Onto the back it comes now for Kalina. Hands it over to Woolley. That one skipped through. Halfway through the first period of the game. Shots are even at just 3 apiece. All nudged on back, so it's McGillis taking over and banking it behind for Michael Sikora. Chet-born defenseman with a long toss that goes down the ice for a touch-up. Good hockey weather here in Buffalo. Cold, a little bit rainy. Good day to be inside watching this.
Well, it's Monday morning, and it looks like the whole world is heading back to work. We've got a couple of tie-ups on the freeway and some construction downtown. Coming up at 10 past the hour, Sports Center.
Come Monday, we all need a little coaxing. Now get 0.9% APR financing on select Jeep vehicles.
Beer is like a natural food product. The fresher it is, the better it tastes. That's why Budweiser has 12 local breweries right here in the United States. So you know, our beer will always be fresh.
This one's for you. And you, this one's for you.
Congratulations! You've launched the pink slip virus. Your office is now infected. They'll soon trace it back to you. Good luck finding a new job. Congratulations!
Want to get away? Now you can. Fly Southwest Airlines for just $39 to $99 when you purchase by May 24th.
You are now free to move about the country.
They must have painted each other's heads, right?
Yeah.
The black paint painted the red paint, and then the red paint painted the black paint. A couple talented guys. Obviously, they got too much time in their hands, but couple very artistic young gentlemen there.
Well, Gratton has been huge for Buffalo in this series, as you saw by that note. A lead from every one of his goals. Woolley hands it across. Kalinin with a shot, and that one blocked. And it's pinned underneath the fallen flyer, Manderville.
You know what he needs? One other number there. He needs one game-winning goal. That's what Gratton needs for the Buffalo Sabres. If he gets one game-winning goal, that means this series is over, folks. Great big horse. Primo's the same way, same type of player. That's a modern NHL. 6'3" guys that are physical, that can score, that can win draws, that you can play in every key situation. Every team has players like that now. Lindros was like that in Philly at one time. You got a kid like Trevor Linden now in Washington. You got Mario Lemieux. All big 6'4", 6'5" guys that can score, play both ends of the rink, take draws. Great all-around players.
I'm not a big believer in streaks being prophetic, but it does say something about how hard it is to come from behind in the playoffs when you consider that Philadelphia has never been down 3-1 and won a series. Buffalo has never led 3-1 in a series and lost it. That means 3 perfect games to come back.
Exactly. It means 3 perfect games to getting your team to believe they can win 3 times. Obviously, the second one is the hardest one to get.
Here's James Patrick with the one-time shot. Came out in front. Oh, and a shot by Murata was kicked aside by Chet Money. Didn't get as much on that as he would have liked. Gagne tried to get it ahead and got it as far as Primo, but they have to drop it back now.
Coaches that get their teams come back from 3-1 deficits, they've done a great job in that dressing room. That's a dead dressing room after you're down 3-1. There's not a lot of belief in there. And to turn that mentally around and get them thinking they can win, guys like Andy Murray and Bill Barber, they've done great jobs.
This is Richardson. Barada as well as Curtis Brown and Dumont. That's the front line for the Buffalo Sabres. James Patrick on defense, and also out now as they make a line change. Chatan comes out along with Barnes. Dumont still out there. And out of this scrum, it is Chatan, hammered by Therrien, but he keeps going. Spike loose to the corner by Barnes. Desjardins tries to knock it from him and eventually able to control. 8.5 to go first period. Limited shot totals, just 4-3. The Sabres with the advantage.
I'm surprised Lindy Ruff doesn't start telling these guys to start attacking a little bit more. They tried to sit in that in Game 5, but it costed them. This is a great skating club. They've got to use that ability. Put some pressure on the Flyers in their own zone. Make them make a couple of passes coming out of the zone. Right now they're getting the center very easily.
That seems to be the tough part of the ice to ever dominate, doesn't it?
Yes, it does.
Here's Hoshy coming out. Sweeping goal. Warner can't go back. McKee got there, but Hall first, though McKee's the one who emerges. The block shot and hit leader for Buffalo in this series. Jay McKee put it back down and turned back on by Richardson, but it went right to Hines. Through one in front, it's across the net, mouth wide. Pivoting on back is Ranheim. Good shoulder on him by Doug Gilmour. Thrown through Woolley.
And McKee does that, Mike, against all the other team's best players. Him and Warner always plays against the top line on the other team, so that's even more impressive when you look at who he's playing against.
Hines tried to fight his way through. Left held by Chet Monik, and the Sabres fans would have liked a penalty. Well, coming up, the thrill of victory and the agony of defeat. ABC's Wide World of Sports celebrates 40 years with a special anniversary show presented by Aflac. And that's next Sunday, April 29th. What wonderful footage spanning centuries of sports competition. But the footage, of course, coming since the development of that wonderful show 40 years ago. Olympic Games, just tremendous action that you'll get a chance to see. As we saw some at the front, Parada would have liked more on that.
Well, if that's Doug Gilmour or maybe Donald Audette, that's probably in the net. But Parada's known for a defensive specialist. He plays against, as I mentioned, the other team's best lines. So he doesn't get a lot of wide open nets. And obviously you can see when he does get one, it's not a big deal because he just shot her back in the corner. What Parada adds to this team and players like him, defense, speed, grittiness. He's on the ice again. We talked about it, him and Brown and Rasmussen against the Primo line consistently. So they don't care if Parada scores a goal all year. If he does, it's a bonus. His job is to not let anyone else score.
Here's Parada's shot, save, check money. And the rebound back to center. There'll be a penalty coming up on the Flyers.
Almost a bonus, Mike.
Almost indeed. You mentioned Grattan needing a winning goal. If the score doesn't change, he's got one. Spike back to center. Now we'll get the power play swinging into operation for the Buffalo Sabres. Terry into the box.
6 flat, roughing.
Looks like a football ref. He's got to turn that thing on, look into the camera. Call the penalty on national TV. Now let's look at this penalty. Terry on right there. Right at Parada. Oh, hit the shaft of the stick. Now you see why goaltenders have that paddle down. It gives them a lot more on the ice to stop a puck with. Therrien got a little bit angry after that chance. He knew he'd lost Parada in front of the net, so he gave him a little bit of extra aggressiveness in front of the net and got called for it. So we'll see the Buffalo power play now.
It is 3 for 12 in the series. 7:07 to go in the first, and the first opportunity for either team to have the man advantage. Pat Millen, who's now the general manager of the Detroit Lions in football, defensive lineman, and he said he'd always time it where he'd walk by the referee when he had the mic open and say the words, "That was a terrible call," which would also go on the PA. I'm impressed with how polite these guys are.
Yeah, a hockey player wouldn't be saying that. I can guarantee that. Woolley is on the power play. So.
Pinching along is Yudnik. And it's sent back down. The bouncer on Hasek.
Again, Buffalo's not a fancy power play like a Pittsburgh. They dump it in a lot. They rely on their speed to go get it. They shoot from the point. They put men in front. It's a very workmanlike power play. Very simple power play. That's why it's usually good at come playoff time. Not a lot that can go
Andrichuk didn't get much of that. Loose puck, score! Doug Gilmour, power play goal, 2-zip.
Well, there is a couple of old war horses right there. Toronto Maple Leaf players in the early 90s. I know them very well. Gilmour and Andrichuk. Andrichuk, one of the top goal scorers in NHL history. He's going to score over 600 goals before he's done. I talked about it being a very simple power play, not a lot can go wrong. Andrichuk usually doesn't carry the puck in the power play. But you see that long reach of Andrichuk, just knocks it over to his buddy Dougie Gilmour. The two defensemen converge on Andrichuk, and there's Dougie. Dougie on the spot, just shoots it right in the wide open net. Andrichuk's reach created that loose puck. Dougie Gilmour going to the net, created the goal. Czechmonic just can't get across. Desjardins couldn't get across to pick up Gilmour, and we got a 2-0 game. Boy, great play by Andrichuk. 2 assists tonight.
The crowd finally gets back down in the seats. What an ovation. Andrichuk with 2 primary assists. And Doug Gilmour has moved into a tie with Jean Beliveau. The all-time list in terms of points. We'll get to that in a moment, but here's Therrien. Therrien able to fling one back to center, and so it is McKee going back.
That's some pretty good company, boy. When you were playing with John Beliveau for anything, you were a pretty good hockey player.
Here is LeClaire. Dueling with McKee. John LeClaire deals it in. Here's Tocchet in front. On a diving poke check. It's made by Hasek, and a penalty coming up. It'll be against the Sabres, and so Philadelphia will have a power play of its own.
Well, we talked about the old Warriors, Andrichuk and Gilmour. They played together on many good teams in Toronto, playing together here in Buffalo. Now watch Dougie, smart player, goes right to the far post like he's been taught since he's been 5 years old. Great goal.
He announced that he was coming back from retirement.
Go Penguins!
It means a lot to have him back. It's great for the game of hockey.
Pure joy. Everybody felt it. This goes beyond sports. This is culture.
It's the best thing to happen to Pittsburgh since the inaccurate reception.
A lot of people thought I was too old to come back. I just needed some time to clear my head and my acne.
Play the Powerade Under the Cap game. 1 in 6 wins instantly.
Faster, more reliable, more profitable. With Nortel Networks, the internet can be whatever you need it to be. No matter who you are or where you are. So tell us, what do you want the internet to be?
Right now, over me.
Jeep Grand Cherokee, our most capable 4x4 ever. Now get 0.9% APR financing on select Jeep vehicles.
Well, we mentioned Gilmour's proximity to Jean Beliveau and the all-time playoff point leaders. Look at this. 176 apiece and tied for 7th. Brian Trottier, just 8 above.
Well, Dougie says this is his last year. He doesn't think he's going to play next season, and especially if they go anywhere in the playoffs. He would love to finish on a high note. What a warrior. Not big, not strong, not fast. Just a huge, huge heart. Played great hockey for a lot of years. Not the offensive player he once was.
Desjardins, a shot save made by Hasek, and the rebound over to Veranda, who gets it back down the ice.
And again, Doug Gilmour is just one of those guys that come playoff time elevates his game. He scores more points at playoff time than he does during the regular season. Not many players in the NHL do that. Usually everybody's offensive numbers drop come playoff time because of the checking. Gilmour's go up.
Recchi fires it around, waiting for it is Kanye, challenged by Ziznik behind the LeClaire. Scale to the back to Desjardins, but he had trouble. And taking it away and moving back ahead now is Chatan. Chatan creeping on, he fired a backhander that went wide. Played back along now for an outlet pass that came from Recchi. Well, I have Chatan all over the ice today. Let's try Curtis Brown. That Shatan has been a whale of a player considering he wasn't out there. Fired back around to Hasek, and Hasek traps it and hangs on.
That's what I like about you, Mike. You admit your mistakes. I know a lot of guys that do these games would just keep calling him Shatan, pretending he's on the ice. That's what I love about Mike Emmerich. Right there is Curtis Brown. We talked about what a great series this kid is having. He's got 2 goals, but he is a defensive specialist. He is a draw man. Desjardins loses the puck. That's called having your pocket picked, folks. Now watch this go. The defenseman from Philadelphia actually plays it very well. Czechmanic's job is to play the shooter. The defenseman man, who was Mark Recchi, who was a left winger, is to take the pass away. The pass was taken away, so it became one-on-one Brown against Czechmanic. Brown went into the middle of the rink like he should, but missed the net on the backhand. So
Stu Barnes out to kill off the penalty for Buffalo, and guess who's he's accompanied by up on the rink? This time it is Shatan. Here's the shot that comes from McGillis, and that one grabbed and then swung away by the glove of Hasek. And Barnes throws it back down.
People are probably wondering why Hasek throws that puck away. Why doesn't he want the face-off in his own zone? I love what he does. He hates face-offs in his own zone. He moves the puck more than any other goaltender in hockey, I think. He hates face-offs. He knows it's another area that can come back and haunt you in your own zone. He moves it. He'll take the face-off some other place rather than right next to him in one of those corners. That's why he moves the puck so fast and so often.
James Patrick moved that one. Czechmanic comes out to deal with it. Down to the last 20 of the kill for Buffalo. Shatan menacing Sikora, and it's laid back ahead for Langkow. Langkow tried to get it through. It came over to Recchi. Fed one in front, and taking care of his man was Zhitnik as he was able to neutralize Langkow. Meanwhile, it's passed ahead to Shatan again. Puck trickled through to Curtis Brown. More time killed off out of the box is McKee, and so the Sabres have done it. Under 4 minutes to go, first period.
Great defensive work by the Buffalo Sabres. Hasek was very aggressive. Recchi threw it in front, but all his teammates were tied up by the Buffalo defensive players.
Andrichuk locked up with Benetenko. A shot grabbed off by Primo. Primo trying to step around. Couldn't get to the front, though. A crunch of players from Buffalo got in his way. And it's lobbed back down.
Philly needs a spark. They need something good to happen. Maybe that save on the shorthanded chance by Brown will do it, but they need a big hit here. They need some energy. They need something special going in for this intermission break. So look for Primo, one of those players, the big guns to do that for him.
Therrien knocked down a Finneganov. Fed to the point. Grattan a shot. It sailed off the glass. Moving back in is Ranheim. Gave it up on the wall to Andrichuk, though. His pass is knifed right back to the corner by Grattan. Andrichuk trying to pull his way to the front, but stalemated by a couple of flyers. A Finneganov there, run into by Richardson. Getting a little space is Grattan. Andrichuk shot quickly blocked. Therrien tried to play it out, but Andrichuk was in the way of that one.
Looks like there's about 7 Sabres on the ice in that zone. Puck's hitting them. They're winning or lose battles. They look quicker right now. Not a lot of emotion by the Flyers. They got to change that.
Battled back along now for control that Audette eventually was able to get. Swing it back to Hines, and then Gilmore starts it ahead. Sikora. Doug Gilmore playing in his 163rd Stanley Cup playoff game in a row. No injuries for that guy. Sikora moving on in, and a diving stop made by Patrick. It's dealt ahead, and here comes Audette up the wing. Audette with a drive.
They got Donald Audette. He doesn't need a lot of chances to score a goal. He gets one. It's in the net, and it's a 3-0 lead. Sikora goes in. Great block there by Patrick, who's been playing great for Buffalo. Audette off to the races. Now watch this. Top of the circles. Rolling puck. Beats Czechmanic high on the glove side. Same place. Curtis Brown beat him in overtime in game 4. Great shot by Donald Audette. Not many NHL players will score that goal. Donald Audette is a goal scorer. He will score that goal. That's why they got it. This place is great. Great atmosphere here.
A stunning start for the Sabres at home. 7 shots. 3 have found their way in. Grattan, Gilmore, and Audette. Penalty coming up. It'll be Richardson going to the box.
Let's chart the goals that have been scored on Czechmanic in this series. I've watched every game, so I've seen every goal. Early in the series, it was between the legs who was killing Roman Cechmanek. As a matter of fact, the first 5 goals in this series went in between Roman Cechmanek's legs. Right there you see Shatan get one of the goals. Now let's look at game 4. First goal by Grattan, up over the glove. Overtime goal by Curtis Brown, up over the glove. Audette's goal tonight, the 3rd goal of the game. Down the wall, where does it go? Up over the glove. So we've got trends between the legs or up over the glove. Seems to be an area that Cechmanek can be beaten.
Richardson and elbowing Minor with 2 minutes to go in the period.
Well, this could be the backbreaker, Mike, I'll tell you. They need a big kill. They can't go in for nothing.
Especially with a goalie the caliber of the one Buffalo has at the other end of the ice. Primo runs into Zhitnik. Offside and play stop. We want to tell you what's coming up. 1 minute and 52 seconds of playing time from now. Join us at the end of that first period for the Dodge Intermission Report. John Saunders and John Davidson back in the studio. We'll look at other playoff action. And Darren McCarty of the Detroit Red Wings tells his story.
Well, Joe Micheletti mentioned that Audette was one of the guys that Lindy Ruff wanted to score. So that's Lindy should have told him earlier that he needed him to score. I can't why he waited to game 6.
When you look at the needs of the Flyers to have some energy. Haven't had it. Audette with a shot, and that went off a leg. Gilmore able to fish it behind it, came out to the front, Zhitnik hands it to the back. Willie a shot, and that one blocked away by Primo. Now Gilmore. Gilmore waits, fires one that's knocked down by Desjardins. Work to the outside with a rangy Dave Andreychuk. And it back across to Woolley. Big drive, Andreychuk scores! Dave Andreychuk, 4-0.
I think Dave Andreychuk's been the best Sabre Flyer to date in this game. He's already got 2 assists. Now he's got a goal. Jason Woolley was added to this game. First game he's playing in this series. As I mentioned, the last time they went to the finals, they had a very good power play, and Jason Woolley, number 5, was a quarterback in that power play. Right now he's showing paying dividends, and he's showing Lindy Ruff that he should be in the lineup. He doesn't want to come out again when Schmeling comes back. That's a timing play. It's a set play. Andreychuk walks out of the corner. Woolley hits his stick. Great pass by Woolley. Great timing by Andreychuk. Oh.
Half of the 4 goals have come on the power play. Tompkins sent that one in front. Warner grabbed it off under a minute to go.
Mike, every coach in the NHL has a 3-0 speech for in between periods. I don't think many coaches got a 4-0 speech. Bill Barber's going to have to make something up.
It amazes me how many times a coach has to talk to his team from training camp through the playoffs.
But it's not what you say, it's what they hear. So we'll find out what the Philadelphia Flyers hear in between periods.
Langkow, a shot that's blocked wide. Stoppage of play, and Mick Magoo has spotted a slash. This one looks as though it's going to be on the Sabres.
Well, we did some research before the game, and we found out why Andreychuk is scoring consistently in the NHL. You see this stick right here, folks? That's an old stick that he used to use in the 80s. He carries it with him as good luck. Those sticks beside it are the sticks he uses in the game. The old one is just a good luck stick. And now I realize why I was not a good player. I did not have a good luck gimmick. That's why I struggle. Every good player has a good luck gimmick. Randy Andreychuk has a 10-year-old stick he uses for good luck. And it is working.
He had no points in the series coming into this afternoon. First period isn't over yet, and he's got 3.
But Lindy probably told him he needed some goals out of him, too.
Woolley and Gilmore get the assists on Andreychuk's goal at 18:46. A slash on Parada. 33.2 to go. Shatan. And back down. Who would have thought?
Not me and you.
We thought Buffalo would battle, but 2 of the best goalies giving up a collective 4. And all 4 coming at one end. Recchi giving it across. Desjardins with a shot. Fought off by Hasek, and then it's whipped wide.
This might be Hasek's night.
Knifed off the glass and down.
Everything that went wrong for Philadelphia did go wrong. Buffalo power play looks great. No energy right now for the Philadelphia Flyers. They got to go into that dressing room and regroup. Find a way to come out. 40 minutes of hockey is locked. That's what Bill Barber will be selling. Guys, we win each period with 2 goals. We will come back and tie this game. Let's look at the goals. Gilmore goes to the front of the net. Andrechuk tips it over. Grattan got the first on a deflection. The goal scoring Donald Audette makes a great shot. And Woolley makes a great pass to Andrechuk for the 4th goal.
If you lose with it, it's called age. If you win with it, it's experience. Gilmore and Andrechuk.
Right. You are exactly right, Mike.
Have been splendid in this first period. The Sabres ahead 4-0. Stay with us.
Base paid $3 million per man and $1 million for first-year men.
No.
Percentage of the gate, broadcast revenues, and free agency after 3 years.
No.
2 weeks vacation, a case of Bud Light, and a free turkey Thanksgiving.
What? No on the vacation, no on the Bud Light, and maybe on the turkey.
Deal. Congratulations, boys.
Congratulations.
And MasterCard, official card of the NHL and fan of the toughest players on the planet.
Second period begins with the Flyers on a power play. And Hasek sets it up. If you were Bill Barber, would you have considered a goaltender change?
No, because I don't think it's fair to check Monik, who's been a warrior all year for this team. I think that team should win or lose together, and I don't think it's fair to Boucher, who never played much down the stretch, to be thrown into a situation like this. So I'm glad Billy is going with the team, win or lose with this group that has played so hard for him all year long.
Hasek flips. Gagne knifed it down, tried to get it further. Came right back near him. McKee interceded. McKee right along to pump it further for the clear by Chatin. That's kept by Desjardins, and a shot. Oh, and it was tipped by Leclerc. Down to the ice went Hasek, and a penalty is coming up. The call is going to be against the Flyers.
Hit the goalie. 10. Goaltender interference.
Well, Mick Magoo knows that you got to get in front of Donovan Hasek. You got to give him extra attention. John Leclerc got a little too close to him and gave him a little bit too much extra attention. Right there, Warner sort of threw the hip at him right in that situation. Southwest Airline goal cam, let's take a look at it. Man, that's a tough call when you're losing 4-0. I might be a little angry if I'm Bill Barber. Johnny tried to get out of Warner's way. Warner threw the hip and hit Leclerc right into the goaltender. So. But when you're losing 4-0, everybody's against you.
Yeah, it becomes a snowball effect then. Leclerc.
Mother hates you, dog hates you, wife hates you, everybody hates you when you're losing 4-0. Dog bites you when you go home.
Well, 4 aside. Little tap by Czechmonic. A dump from behind. Rasmussen brought back ahead. Derek Plant lays it back on for Richardson. Patrick on the initial defense, and secondarily it was Dmitry Kalinin. Brought back ahead now for control by Rasmussen. Got it on to Curtis Brown. Wanted to pump it back in, but couldn't. Off of Rasmussen, who goes down. Brown comes by and is able to knock it to the corner. McGillis, and then Plant, and then Richardson. Boy, what a job Darcy Regier has done as general manager here. You look at the goal scores in the first period. 2 of them came by trade on the trade deadline in the year 2000. Another Audette came in the 2001 trade, and Dave Andrechuk, the scorer of the 4th goal, was a free agent signing.
And don't forget, Michael Pekka is not in the lineup, but he belongs to Buffalo. They'll get something for him next year, or they'll get Michael Pekka. So they're going to become an even better team next year when Pekka decides what he's doing.
It helps to have goaltending depth, which they certainly have as well. This one pitched back up because maybe the goalies don't all play for you, but you can deal them. Lifted back out of play. Out of play, so coming in, John Saunders, John Davidson.
And the new Dodge update, and guys, LA is dominating Detroit in this game. Robitaille, Belanger, LaPerriere, 2-0 down.
How often do you say Igor Larionov loses man? He did. He lost Belanger around Osgood, LaPerriere to the net for the tap-in. LA is dominating. You're right, John.
Still about 15 to go in the second period.
Igor Larionov has not lost a home game at Joe Louis Arena since he came.
I'll tell you, I didn't like Detroit in overtime, boy. They came out and they weren't ready to play. That was a bad sign.
Puck fed to the back now to Gilmore. Power play on for the Sabres. It is Woolley. Woolley able to work it on through. Audette flung one in front. Audette again tried to push one through Andrichuk, and it's Therrien banking it off the glass. Waiting is Woolley, but it's worked as far as center where Keith Primo wanted it, but instead it goes back to Shitney.
Andrichuk just goes to the front of the net. Every good power play has that one guy that goes in that area.
Andrichuk's shot deflected off the outside of the goal, and shaken up on the play as Audette gets back to his feet and now takes his position. It comes right to him, but is knocked away. Banging his stick loudly on the ice is Hasek, as back ahead comes Jody Hull. Penalty time is up. They've got Leclerc sneaking in the wing, but Langkow preoccupied with the checking of Shitney. Langkow again, but it's to the back for Richardson's shot that clinks off the glass. Slugged further by Gilmore, and Leclerc has to retrieve at center. 3 minutes played, second period.
People that don't know hockey, Hasek is doing that to let his team know that the player is coming out of the penalty box. That's what goaltenders do. So when you hear that beaver tail that's slapping, that's to let his defenseman that might be flying to the man coming out know the man's coming.
Leclerc a little back pass to the front, but Tocchet was well defended by Shitney, and this one spiked away, and on comes Dumont. Moving on in, Dumont, back in the score!
Lindy Ruff could write a book about what he wanted to happen in this game. I gotta think 99% of it has come true. You've got good goaltending when you needed it. They haven't needed very much. All the guys they needed to score have scored. Andrichuk, Gilmore, Audette, Woolley came into the line of the offense. And now Dumont, another offensive player that has been struggling, gets a goal. So Lindy Ruff is living right. The Buffalo Sabres are living right. And it just doesn't appear to be Roman Cechmanek or the Philadelphia Flyers' day.
Brian Boucher last entered a game on March 22nd in Calgary. As Barry said, he hasn't played much down the stretch. It is fair to Cechmanek to give him more of a try, which they did in the second period, and not to throw Boucher to the Wolves, but they're forced to do that now.
I actually think Boucher lost his last start against Calgary also, if I'm not mistaken. But again, you see Dumont here, good speed. It's a goal scorer's goal. McGillis makes a great effort at the end. It just found a way to go through underneath Cechmanek's arm. That's been the way it is with Roman Cechmanek today. Pucks just find a way to go through. You can't really blame him for any of the goals. The Grattan goal was a deflection. The Andrichuk goal was a great pass by Woolley. Look at those numbers. 18 goals in 6 games. Those aren't Roman Cechmanek numbers. As we said, Hasek is the 6th worst goals against in the playoffs. Roman Cechmanek had the 7th worst goals against in the playoffs. We did not expect that coming into this series, Mike.
There are few who have followed this sport who would ever consider that Dominik Hasek in a key game would give up as many as the Flyers need him to give up the rest of this one. 5-0, early stages, second period. Desjardins loses. Desjardins able to tap it on back, and it's Sikora.
I'm hoping the Flyers know how nervous Brian Boucher is right now, and they play hard in front of this kid. Cut down their mistakes, cut down their turnovers, give him a chance to get into the game with some long shots.
Paddled that one back around for Hull, sets it up for Desjardins. Lobbed ahead for the spike back in by Fedorik. Hasek had a little trouble with the loose stick as well as the puck. Fired behind, and he watches now as Patrick wants to take plant. Fedotenko hit by James Patrick. Boys had a strong series. James Patrick physically playing tough defense for Buffalo. Patrick comes by and lobs that one on back, and Ruslan Fedotenko, with the early heroes in this Flyers campaign, put that one back, and it's set off a plant set up by Hasek again.
I think it's really nice the Buffalo fans here letting Boucher really feel good about himself and walking him to the NHL playoffs, giving him the Bronx cheer here, the Boucher yell. Took about 10 seconds for that to get started, poor kid.
Last time I started to notice that was another Flyer goaltender named Ron.
Yep.
And they had a hard time getting
Hextall.
Let's hear from Joe Micheletti downstairs.
Doc, thank you very much. You know, Barry made a really good point about protecting the goaltender, Boucher. In fact, the Flyer coaches told their players, listen, let's try and win this in 40 minutes. We don't have to try and win it in the first few minutes. As far as Lindy Ruff is concerned, the reminder to his team against Bill Barber's Flyers, they've dressed 5 defensemen, continue to put the puck in, go after them, force them, make them tired, and at the same time, don't change our style. Stay on the puck, put pressure on the puck, and that's exactly what we saw when Dumont stole the puck and scored goal number 5. Mike?
Some other cliches coaches are used, make them go 200 feet for a scoring chance. No outnumbered chances. Our third man's always high unless he's 100% sure of getting the puck. So that's what Lindy Ruff and his staff will be selling to the Buffalo Sabres on that bench.
And it really is a sale, isn't it?
But they don't listen when they're up 5-0. The best time to coach is when you're down 5-0, believe it or not. They listen when you're down 5-0. They ain't listening right now when they're up 5-0.
Hasek just hangs on to that one.
And you're right, Hasek is not going to give up 5 goals. His team is going to always have men back. They're going to keep the shots to the outside. Philly's just looking to compete the rest of this game. That's what Billy Barber. Come on, guys. We got more pride than this. We've had such a great year. We've overcome so many obstacles, so much problems. We've battled. Let's continue to do this. Let's be proud of ourselves at the end of this night that we played hard for 60 minutes.
Sabres have scored on 5 of 9 shots.
That's what I mean. Just about every chance the Sabres have had have won in. You know, it's not like they've had a bunch of chances and they've got 5 goals.
It is Barnes dropping it off now for Dumont. Well, teams that struggle always talk about not getting the breaks. The Sabres, the difference is so small. Anderson throws one from the half boards, and it barely gets touched by Grattan, but just does get touched.
Isn't the old saying, the harder I worked, I was amazing how much luckier I got? Yeah. And I'm a big believer in that. Hard work overcomes a lot of problems, and the Buffalo Sabres knew they were not good in Game 5 in Philadelphia. This is Game 7, Lindy Ruff mentioned. They did not want to go back to Philadelphia. They wanted to win it here in their own building. It'll give them a little bit of a rest if they can do that for the next 34 minutes. That's a good team, folks. They can skate. They got good size. They got the dominator in net. They got a power play that's pretty potent right now. They got defensive men like Curtis Brown to check. They got offensive men like Donald Audette to score. Alex Zidnik, great defense. Warner, Klee, players like that. So this is a good group of players.
And Dmitry Kalinin is another one of those players that was honed in Rochester in the American Hockey League. Brown spun, another ex-Rochester American. We saw some Amerks jerseys in the stands here this afternoon. Here's Brown hit down. There'll be a penalty coming up to the Flyers from this. The call is a trip and a chance to make it a half dozen.
Well, Curtis Brown, good. Hopefully he's not hurt. But again, we talked about pressure in the puck. Lindy Ruff was not happy with his team in Game 5 the way they skated. They made up for it today. They are flying, and Dumont gets a goal.
Dear Casanova.
Zima.
CD, $15. Baseball tickets, you please? $60. Abstract painting, $3,000. Express checkout on the web. Priceless. The MasterCard e-wallet. Online checkout is now one click away. There are some things money can't buy. For everything else, there's MasterCard. Get one at MasterCard.com.
Got a little SUV and a big load? Good luck. But Dodge Durango is different. With 2 big beefy Magnum V8s to choose from, you can pull up to 7,550 pounds, which puts Durango ahead and your boat behind you. Durango. Different. And just right. Now get a $2,000 cash allowance or low 0.9 financing on Durango.
McGillis, the trip. May have been a costly one for Buffalo. We'll just have to see.
Exactly. Curtis Brown is such a big part of this team. They went knee to knee, and Brown is definitely in pain on the bench. So,
well, your leading face-off man, your leading player against the big sniper for the other team. Woolley.
Well, that's what you're worried about in this situation with a 5-0 lead, that you get out of this game unscathed, no one gets hurt. You continue to play hard. You don't do anything stupid. Come out healthy at the end of this night.
In softball leagues, they have mercy rules, but not this. Here's a backhander score!
Mike Emmerich, there's no mercy in hockey.
Obviously now, Steve Hines, 6-0. Another power play goal.
Well, again, one of those offensive players that Lindy Ruff wants to score. It's just been one of those nights. Audette scores, Hines scores, Grattan scores. There's Chatan, Mike Emmerich's favorite player. Boucher throws the puck right back into Hines. No one took him. Hines, he gets 2 chances at it. And Hines, 57, throws it behind Brian Boucher. Puck came side to side. Boucher makes the first save. Puck goes right back to Hines. No one was able to take him coming out of the corner. Hines won the physical battle. Now we're looking at a 6-0 game.
Another of the late season deadline deal acquisitions by the Buffalo Sabres.
The one thing about Buffalo Sabres, they got to sign all these guys if they want to keep them. Hines a free agent, Audette's a free agent. So they do have a couple problems. Things are pretty good. But if they want to keep these guys, they're going to have to throw over some cash to get them.
Steal by Leclerc, flipped across the net mouth, guarded by Hasek. Turned back on by Leclerc, but picked up by McKee. Jay McKee accelerates ahead, bothered by Leclerc. Leclerc able to strip it and start ahead himself. Here's Leclerc with an opening, big drive, and getting a piece of it, Hasek. Up to the seats the fans have that one. Play stopped with 7:12 gone in the second.
Well, one of the names I mentioned earlier that you got to mention John Leclerc's name more. He has not been a big factor in the playoffs. They've changed the line. He's not even playing with Recchi and Primo. That's what they envisioned. Simon Gagne's playing with them now. John Leclerc has not had a good playoffs. That's one of the reasons that this will probably be the Flyers' last game of this series. Primo's come back. As I said, they won 2 of the 3 games with Primo back. Gagne's come back from his injury, his shoulder injury. He's got 3 goals in this series. But the big horse, the guy that scored so many goals for Philadelphia, just hasn't been able to get his game going the way they expected and the way they hoped.
Well, the Flyers with problems this afternoon, and also John Leclerc could wind up elsewhere. Nothing is certain about that for next year. Here is Zhitnik. Pass went off of Gilmore. Pulling his way by was Fedoruk, but it's scooped up by Donald Audette.
Matter of fact, in Philadelphia in Game 5, they had some newspapers showing that, asking the question, is this John Leclerc's last game as a Philadelphia Flyer? Because if they would have lost that game, it could have been. That would have been the series ended. Buffalo would have won that game.
If you just joined us, you may wonder about the score and how those goals occurred. Well, the scores were Grattan, Gilmore on the power play, Audette, Andrichuk on the power play, Dumont, Hines on the power play. 4 in the first, 2 here in the second, and the 5th one, the first in the second period, chased Roman Czechmanek. Brian Boucher, the hero of last year's playoffs, is now in. Long toss away from Hines and back down for an icing.
Well, you're not going to see any time there's 3 Buffalo Sabres behind the goal line. They're going to be plugging up the middle of the rink. They're going to play really, really defensively now the rest of this game.
The storyline is presented by Valvoline Max Life. Gilmore, a goal and an assist. 7th all-time with Jean Beliveau in playoff points. Andrichuk, a goal and 2 assists. No points in the prior 5.
Congratulations to the great warrior, Dougie Gilmore. Lucky break there. Goes right off Richardson's skate over to Dougie Gilmore, but Dougie was going to the net. Woolley makes a great play here. Off the fake shot, throws it through the slot, timing play. Andrichuk comes out and tips it into the wide open net. Old guys are scoring, young guys are scoring, left-handers are scoring, right-handers are scoring. We just haven't got a defenseman yet to score a goal.
Some of you will be leaving this contest to join the Pittsburgh Penguins Washington Capitals Game 5. Some of you will remain here, which is a Buffalo 6-0 lead over the Philadelphia Flyers. A couple of teams who went at it in 1975 in the Stanley Cup Finals. That one went a little better for Philadelphia than this one has.
Much better.
Both of these franchises have hired hometown heroes from their NHL playing days. Bill Barber, of course, hired on December 10th by the Flyers, and Lindy Ruff, a one-time captain who succeeded Gilles Perreault after he had retired as captain here, is the guide of the Buffalo Sabres.
The only thing Bill Barber and Lindy Ruff had in common as players is that they both shot left. Lindy was a very hard-nosed, physical defenseman slash forward to play a lot of positions. Bill Barber, one of the elite goal scorers ever playing in the NHL. So both good coaches, so very good coaches.
Randheim bumped off by Kalinin, and a shot is covered by Hasek, and play is stopped. Along with Barry Melrose and Joe Micheletti, Mike Emmerich from Buffalo, where the Sabres are en route to eliminating the Flyers. If they keep on keeping on, they have a 6-0 lead midway in the second period.
Well, if the Flyers come back and win this game, we got a big story, folks. Buffalo Sabres, you got to think with their defensive system, with their smothering skating ability, it's going to be very hard for the Philadelphia Flyers to even think of a comeback. They're just thinking of competing right now and saving some face and some pride and playing for Brian Boucher, who hasn't had a start in close to a month. So there's a lot of reasons for Philadelphia. This team has played too hard all year long to go out and not compete the rest of this game.
For those of you concerned about Curtis Brown, that would not only be Sabres fans, but fans of hockey. You don't need to be that concerned because he's back out there for this draw.
Unity, Saskatchewan, little town in Saskatchewan. That's where Curtis Brown is from. I've been there many times. It's even smaller than Kelvington, where I'm from. So it's really tiny.
A great charm in small towns, and remarkably, hockey scouts find those little towns.
That's where the best players come from.
Well, now come on. Laid on back. Brantford, Ontario. Not that small.
Oh yeah, that's a unique individual you're talking about there. You're talking about Wayne Gretzky from Brantford.
Brown a shot and it flapped wide. Fed in front. Oh, and it ricocheted off of Gagne and went just wide of the Flyer cage. The battling continues. The feet out in front, and Brown couldn't come up with that one. It's flexed right back on by Zhitnik, but then walked ahead by Simon Gagne. Gagne dropped it on to Mark Recchi, but it's offside. Well, next Saturday, ABC Sports brings you more Stanley Cup playoff action. The conference semifinals live at 3 Eastern. Check your local listings for the game in your area. ABC Sports, home of the Stanley Cup.
Well, I've been in games like this, and if I'm Bill Barber, you look up at that clock, it's 10:18. You look up 4 minutes later, it's still 10:18. They just don't move. Lindy Ruff doesn't want the clock to end. He just wants his game to keep going because they're playing so well. But I know which bench I'd like to be behind right now.
Colorado and Toronto have no worries this weekend. No concern really about out-of-town scores. They have ended their series in 4.
They're just watching the team that they're going to play just get beat up or beat up on people.
Boy, by contrast, you have Colorado that won the President's Trophy and just had a tough time with Vancouver because they were a game bunch, those Vancouver Canucks, but they eliminated them in 4 anyway. Toronto did not have a great season, but it sure turned into a good one thus far. Here's a 2-on-1. Dumont and Chatan. The feed is blocked nicely by the defense of Therrien. And Therrien can lay it on back for Langkow.
It's a feeding frenzy out there. It's like sharks seeing blood in the water. The forwards of Buffalo are just taking off when they see an outnumbered chance. They all want to get into the act here.
Interestingly enough, the Sabres defense are not really giving up much to the Flyers. I don't think Dominic Hasek would have any concerns right now about, hey guys, back here. Fired back around for Desjardins. Eric Desjardins met at center. Fedotenko to the back to Desjardins again. Watched by Hines. Back along and trouble for Kalinin that time. Walk to the front and a forehander by Fedotenko was blocked by Woolley. Boy, Woolley has not missed a step. He's looked quite good. Here's a drive by McGillis and that one went wide.
It's a lot easier for a veteran defenseman like Woolley to sit out 4 or 5 games to come into a lineup rather than a young kid. Woolley knows he'll get a chance. He stays prepared mentally, which is the most important thing, and he stays in good shape physically. So when his chance comes, he's ready.
This is Gilmore bringing it on. Left it for Audette. Gilmore pressed, though. Radheim tied him up, and it's lifted on into the pile. Fedotenko trying to stagger further. Past the halfway point of regulation time. Hines had lost his stick, shoved at Fedotenko. Back on to Zhitnik, but we get an offside call. Play halted here in Buffalo. The Sabres leading by half a dozen.
Congratulations! You've launched the pink slip virus. Your office is now infected. They'll soon trace it back to you. Good luck finding a new job.
Want to get away? Now you can. Fly Southwest Airlines for just $39 to $99 when you purchase by May 24th.
You are now free to move about the country.
UE Inc., the multinational conglomerate, agreed today to buy Fluent Enterprise. Kansas, Oklahoma. Forces close to
Ever get the feeling some people just stop trying? At Avis, we take a novel approach to service. We give it. Avis, we try harder.
We can expect in the coming months his Director of Product Development, all news.
Got it. Nortel Networks is building the new high-performance internet, the wireless internet, with optical technology that makes it faster.
Overall, this has been an exciting
more
year.
reliable.
But the next few months will mark the beginning of a new Gesundheit.
Come together!
In fact, with technology changing
over me.
Well, Dominik Hasek, the Sabres goaltender, has only faced 10 shots in this game. He's obviously stopped all of them. On June 30th, the Sabres will have to make a decision whether to tell Dominik Hasek they want him back. It'll be $9 million. If he doesn't come back, they're also going to miss him from the standpoint of all the charity work he does. He recently wrote out a personal check for $1 million for his foundation that he set up to help kids in the Buffalo area play the game of hockey. Mike?
You know, they had the picture taking for that. Normally you have a huge check that measures maybe 1 yard by 2 yards, so you can have it in the picture. He came with the checkbook, had his wife's name and his name at the upper left-hand corner, and he wrote out the check there, and then just on the perforated line, tore it out and handed it to him. $1 million.
$1 million, man. It'd be nice to be able to write $1 million check.
So you phone in from Atlanta and say, honey, do we have enough in the account for me to write a check to charity for $1 million?
I'm just happy my ATM works. Man. Also, John Clare, Philadelphia Flyer, Ringer, he does a great job of charity in Vermont. He has a golf tournament up in St. Albans.
Primo with a little swat there. Dominik Hasek came up, had something to say. Primo wants to get something else said, this time to Mick McGoo, the referee, but he'll go to the box.
Well, there's a lot of frustrations out there, folks. The Flyers are a proud team. They did not want to go out like this. They wanted to go out fighting, so Mick McGoo, the referee, wants to keep a handle on this. Right here, Hasek makes the save. Primo comes in, gives him a little hit in the hands. But again, the puck was on the ice. It's not like Primo went right after him. Look at Dominik. Settle down. Settle down. Everything's okay. Everything's okay. But Mick McGoo wants to keep a lid on this game.
Well, it'll be a defensive zone faceoff for the Sabres. Primo the slash at 12:53. Kent Manderville, who's been quite a warrior for Philadelphia, will be sent out to take the draw. Well, coming up on Wednesday, see why America has fallen in love with the new hit family comedy My Wife and Kids. Catch 2 episodes back-to-back on Wednesday, 8 Eastern and 7 Central on ABC.
Now, this is a catch-22 for Lindy Ruff. You're winning 6-0. You got a power play. You don't want to run the score up, but you also want to continue having your power play work on things. It's like the practice now with 6-0. You can work on breakouts. You can work on some other things. So it'll be interesting when Lindy quits putting the #1 unit out in the power play and goes with some of the muckers and grinders like Barada and Brown and those guys in the power play.
Well, here's Barnes and fighting that one loose, though losing his stick like Hasek would and covering it all up was Boucher. Here at 6-0. What about elsewhere, John and John?
Well, Mike, the power play of the Washington Capitals has been tremendous. This goal by Sergei Gonchar. And a lot of those power play goals, you see number 22, Connor Walchuk, standing right in front of the other team's goaltender. Good hard low shot. There's the screen. 6 power play goals in this series by Washington. The only even strength was Halpern's overtime winner.
Well, all through the East, there have been some eyebrows raised on the New Jersey-Carolina series. It looked like the Hurricanes were out of it.
My eyebrows fell off, Mike. I can't believe that.
Archer Zerbe has performed a lobotomy. He has gotten into the brains of a lot of the New Jersey Devils scorers the last couple of games after they pretty much had him at their mercy in the first game. Big shot by Desjardins, blown right off by Dominik Hasek.
It's all Eric Desjardins. You're losing 6-0. Season's going to be over. Now Zidane just plants him against the wall. Finishes his check, but that's what Lindy wants. We don't want any bad habits creeping stepping into our game, guys. 60 minutes after.
Halfway through the penalty kill for the Flyers. That's what attracted Victor Tikhonov to Zhitnik when he wanted to have him play for the Red Army team. And Zhitnik had a bargaining chip. He said, you get my dad a car, okay, I'll come. They did.
Well, another Zhitnik story with Tikhonov. Alex was young.
Here's Andrichuk, a shot. Puck came back to Patrick. A blast is deflected up into the seats.
Alex Zhitnik was a young player playing for the Russian national team. I think he was 19 years old because he came to LA when he was 20. And Alex didn't play hard for a couple games. He wasn't very motivated. So if you're in North America, you'd get benched, you'd maybe get yelled at, you'd maybe get sat in the stands. Alex Zhitnik was sent to the Army for 2 weeks. He had to carry a rifle, he had to march with the players or with the soldiers, he had to live in the bunks with the soldiers, he had to eat the soldiers' food for 2 weeks. Alex said that was good motivation, a good coaching move by Tikhonov. He never had problem being motivated again. He realized he had a pretty good life with the Red Army team.
Did they make him wear one of those green uniforms too?
Oh, the ugly uniforms, those ugly Russian uniforms. That's the worst part about being a Russian soldier, you gotta wear those uniforms.
Shot by Patrick is blocked over to Andrichuk. Down to the ice he went, and so the Flyers will be able to walk it as far as center. Jody Hull fed one that Plant couldn't take, and then is sent down by Kalina.
Alex Zhitnik even today does not like going to a war movie.
Well, the one thing about those, especially World War II, you know how they're going to end. Puck fed back to the point, thrown wide. Warner did that. He came back the other way, and it's Kalina. Now to Andrichuk. Fought off by Boucher and covered.
Well, again, I was talking about Eric Desjardins, the great Philly defenseman and Montreal defenseman. I saw him close up in '93, where he scored a hat trick against us. 6-0. Just dumping the puck in. Oh, there's no need for that, Alex.
I like new things, especially when they get old.
Like keeping things around? Use Valvoline Max Life, the first motor oil formulated for higher mileage engines. Max Life conditions use seals to help prevent leaks and helps keep your high mileage engine performing for a long, long time.
Son, another 100,000 miles and this baby will be yours.
And for a simple way to keep your wheels looking great, use Eagle One A to Z wheel cleaner.
Hi, my car's out front.
We'll get started right away.
Five Star, an easier way to sell and service cars and trucks.
You're all set.
Great job, guys. Let's run that drill again.
5 Star, certified training so rigorous, only the best make the cut. It's better. We'll prove it, only where you see these signs.
Our son was studying to be a rocket scientist, but now he has a position here in the stadium.
Hey, Dad.
Son, I'm so proud. How about serving me up one of those frost-brewed Coors Lights?
Sure, Dad, but first there's something I need from you.
I know, son. I know your mom told me. I have to show you more affection.
You actually need to show me your ID.
What?
21 means 21. No ID, no Coors Light.
But he's old enough to be your father.
Like I haven't heard that one before. It's like the tooth fairy thing all over again.
Lifetime in this beautiful facility in Buffalo. The Sabres have a playoff record of 16-12. Wanting to improve on that and even increased importance to John Regas, the owner. Get another round, get some more home dates that wind up being 7 figures when you get one of those home games.
Life is good to be a Buffalo fan right now. 6-0 in your building. Weather's going to be nice outside when they leave.
Primo fresh from the box. Checked by Barada. Down to the ice he went. Meanwhile, it is Simone Gagne. And we're going to get a penalty call. It's like this one will be against the Buffalo Sabres. Boy, Doug Gilmour has been splendid yet again in the playoffs.
Well, again, you just expect it out of him at this time of year.
Doug Gilmour's roles have varied. Started with St. Louis, evolved from a solid, outstanding center, who then went to the Calgary Flames and became a two-way player. In Calgary, they won the 1989 Stanley Cup, and he was a contributor. With Toronto in the early 1990s, Gilmour was recognized as one of hockey's best all-around players and leaders. Now at the twilight of his career, Gilmour is looking to bring it all together one last time with a big Stanley Cup run.
Well, let's look at him, how Dougie Gilmour scores goals, and it's usually like this, by hard work. He just goes to the far post like he's taught. Puck comes to him, he shoots it in the net. This guy is a warrior, folks. You look at him physically, he shouldn't be able to dominate the game the way he does. But in hockey, courage and bravery and passion can overcome a lack of physical gifts sometimes. That's what makes a hockey athlete so special.
1993, my partner was coaching the Los Angeles Kings with Wayne Gretzky into a playoff series against the Toronto Maple Leafs and Doug Gilmour.
I think one of the best series that the NHL has had for a long, long time. Gretzky gets a hat trick in this Game 7. Gilmour was fantastic. Last great fight was in that game, Marty McSorley and Wendell Clark. Last great fight of the playoffs, I think.
Barnes to Shatan. Another try, and he put it off the outside of the net near the post. LeClaire handed it back ahead, overskated by Primo, but then swung in. Great opportunity for the Sabres. They still have 30 seconds now gone off the penalty clock, so quite a bit more to kill. But they're holding all the aces right now. 3:50 to go in the second, and they're up by 6.
They're holding all the aces, and the Flyers got an aces and eights hand. Dead man's hand.
So what did you tell the Kings before that series began about Gilmour and how to play?
Playing very physical. Make life miserable for him. He's not a big man. Make him pay a price every time he touches the puck. We expected him to play well. We expected him to score goals just like he is for Buffalo. But we wanted him to know at the end of the series that he was in one. And, he's not a big man. You got to take advantage of that. And you got to make him pay a price to play.
We mentioned earlier the 163rd consecutive playoff game for Gilmour. That doesn't mean that he wasn't hurt. It just meant that he wasn't injured enough to miss a game.
And like I said, if you're not hurt this time of year, you're not playing very hard. Dougie Gilmour plays hard, so you knew he was hurt and beat up. Another thing I did in that series, I played this guy 99 a lot too.
Was that in your deck? All right, here's McGillis. Now on to Tocchet, dropped it back off for Fedotenko. Fedotenko cruising, dealt it around behind to Tocchet. 13 to go on the kill for Buffalo. Good work, guys. Go hang in. Systematic. There haven't been any shots fired by the Flyers on this. Jody Hull with one that is sent back out, and here comes Gilmour. Is it a partial break? No, he'll just wheel off now and deal it back in.
Not too easy. Just turn it back. And I'm watching Lindy Ruff on the bench, and Lindy's coaching the same way now as if he was losing 6-0. He's barking at the guys. I said he doesn't want any bad habits to come into play here tonight. He wants them to continue to play well. He wants them to play well at their end, good defensively, and continue to attack offensively. Keep the feet moving.
Here's Stock feeding one, went off Vanderbilt. Therrien a shot, and that one snuffed out, and here comes Gratton. Looks ahead. He's got to pin again off, but that canceled out by Therrien again. Chris Therrien tried to poke it on through and pull his way to the net, but Kalinin got in the way, and the two of them jousted in the corner.
Kalinin, great young defenseman, 20 years old. He was in Rochester for a little while, too. Buffalo's got a great scouting staff. Penagenov's young, Kalinin's young, McKee. They've done a great job making trades and drafting players.
Well, they have terrific goaltending in their system. Mika Norrinen, who had 6 shutouts in the American Hockey League playoffs en route to championship status last year in Rochester.
And Marty Biron here.
Afinogenov tried to go by. Thumped and rocked to the boards and glass that are still shaking a bit on the hit by Luke Richards. Key shot, pinball back out.
And I believe the kid that won the Hobie Baker Miller is the Buffalo draft pick also. So they've got 3 great young goaltenders behind Dominic Hasek.
Another penalty has been handed out to the Flyers. There have been enough of these now that Brad Watson won't even need to tell
what's
you.
What's going on there? Come on, Brad, don't mail it in.
Mail it in. Join us after period 2 for the Dodge Intermission Report. John Saunders, John Davidson in the studio, other playoff action. And this week, John's ABCs of hockey with Joe Sakic. Sakic, one of the goal-scoring leaders in the playoffs. He has 4. So does Chris Drury. So does Dallas Drake.
I'll tell you, I was impressed with Vancouver. Without Castles, without Naslund, to play Colorado that hard. Keith Primo got an elbowing penalty there. Just, again, frustration, trying to finish checks, trying to spur his team on a little bit of energy, a little bit of motivation, a little bit of fire.
So it is just fine-tuning for the next round for Buffalo. You have to wonder if there's anything really that Bill Barber can say other tthan what he said at the end of the first.
No, just reiterate, guys, we're too proud to go out without a fight. We're going to battle, we're going to run into people. We're going to have pride 60 minutes. 60-minute effort, that's the only thing we'll accept. That's all he's got all year long. This team played hard for Billy Barber.
Puck trickled along by Donald Audette. Punch right back for a clearing attempt that failed. Walked on by Desjardins, but good body position by Andrechuk. Freed that one up for Patrick. Gilmore, Andrechuk, but Langkow, and it's finessed away from them and walked ahead by Richards.
You mentioned what Andrechuk did there. He's so big and tall. He just threw his body between the man that had the puck and the puck, squeezed him off, got the puck up on that stick of his, and made a great pass across. So
7 shots to 6. The Sabres with the advantage in the period, 15-12 in the game, but of the 15, 6 have gone in. More playoff hockey coming up tonight on ESPN. Game 6 of a marvelous series. Dallas and the Oilers. This one will be in Edmonton. 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific. Dallas tries to end it. The Oilers try to force a Game 7. All 5 games so far have been decided by a goal, 4 in OT.
what about Brewer, that young defenseman for Edmonton? He's got 6 points. He's tied with Rob Blake for a league scoring leadership as defenseman in the playoffs. 6'4", 6'5". He's physical. What a great young defenseman. I love watching him play for Edmonton.
And for those of you who are carnivores, Doug Waite leads the NHL in penalty minutes with 17.
He's a dirty player, Dougie Waite. Is he a great player? Ryan Smith is having a great series, but those grumpy old men find a way to win.
2 periods played. 6-0 Sabres. More after this.
A catcher is expected to field bunts, chase pop-ups, throw out base runners, and hang on to every pitch. All this without making a lot of errors. Well, that's pretty much what Yogi Berra did in 1958, when he went the entire season without making any.
Hey, nothing beats an original. Original Coors. Brewed with Rocky Mountain water.
I used to catch baseballs. Now I'm pitching beers.
No way. Yes way. I got $1 if you can do it. What can you get with $1? You can get a 20-minute phone call. No way. Yes way. How? Dial 10 cents to 20. All calls of 20 minutes, only 99 cents. 20 minutes.
7's Eyewitness News at 5. Brought to you by Dodge, the official vehicles of the NHL. Dodge, different. Original Coors. When you're an original, you do it your own way. Original Coors. And Claritin. On a beautiful day like today, it's a perfect time to talk to your doctor about Claritin.
The old Aud across the way had narrow concourses, not much room to move, but here they have sports bars and all kinds of other things, and they have a great hockey team. The way they're playing today has just been dominant.
Very underrated team. I think everyone in the East, and myself included, is saying Jersey's going to come out of the East, but I'll tell you, Buffalo's a very good hockey club. You got the goaltender that knows how to win. You got a defense that's very mobile, that can shut good players down, and you've got a group of forwards that can fly. And now with Audette, now with Hines, Barnes, players like that, Grattan, if he continues to play, they've got a lot of offensive weapons also. So the Buffalo Sabres on that bench, nice-looking uniforms, good-looking team. That team can do some damage.
Well, the damage that they will have to do, should they do as most expect here and go on to take this series in 6, we like to take a look at how it's been in the regular season. Granted, some of this vaporizes when you get into the first face-off of an upcoming series, but against Washington, they won 2 of 4, only lost once. Against Pittsburgh, they were 1 for 4, and you saw the others there.
But again, regular season, don't forget the Flyers had beaten this team 4-0. So again, folks, throw out all the regular season stuff. Whoever's playing the best coming down the stretch, it's how you're playing, it's who's playing well, it's who's healthy. The Buffalo started this series without Primo in the lineup. Primo missed the first 2 games. Buffalo won those 2 games. Never able to really recover the Philadelphia Flyers. So you got to like the Buffalo Sabres right now. Jersey is stumbling a bit. Washington, Pitt, very good teams. It's going to be interesting. This is a good hockey club.
Well, the bottom line is always, can your goaltender win a championship? Is he going to make the big save when you're behind by 1 to keep you behind by only 1 and enable you to come back and win? And the answer emphatically is yes. Here is Shitnik angling it across. Gilmore held it, side of the net. Knocked off by the defense with half a minute still to kill on the Sabres power play. Kent Manderville moves ahead. Shoulder to the half boards by Shitnik.
Sabres don't score a lot, so that's why I think it's so important that the power play is getting better. You mentioned the move Darcy McGear made at the deadline, getting two offensive players, Hines and Audette. I think that's huge. I like their power play. You've got Gilmore, you've got Anderchuk, you've got Barnes. Now you've got a lot more guys. Dumont, they picked up this year from Chicago. You've got a lot of guys now that can score goals for Buffalo. Still not a high-scoring team because of the system they play, but they don't need as many chances to score now as they did in the past years.
The emphatic slap of the goaltender stick of Dominic Hasek indicates time was dwindling on the Philadelphia penalty. It is over now. Even strength action, but Buffalo still on the attack with their 6-goal lead. Warner played it to Rasmussen. On to the back now to McKee, and that one ladled near the front by Curtis Brown. Played to the outside now, Rasmussen. Are there some players, as coach of the Sabres, that you would play less in the third period of a game that's pretty well decided?
Yes, all my best players.
Every last one.
Everyone last one. And you just don't want anyone. You just can't risk an injury like to a McKee or a Warner, survival on defense. Shidnick, Gilmore, you might not play him as much. Anderchuk, the older players.
Good save by Hasek, and that one chipped back out.
You actually don't want to play any of them right now. You just like to get this game over with, get them in the dressing room, pat them on the back, and say we won one round. We haven't won anything.
Curtis Brown caught a knee from Dan McGillis earlier in the game. May have missed a shift. We weren't timing it at the time, but he did come back and he's played regularly. Would that be another guy that you might rest here in the third?
Exactly. Anyone who's played a ton of minutes, a physical player that's had a real tough series, players like that, that's who he's. But the trouble is they all want to be in the lineup. They don't want to sit on the bench and watch their team win. They want to be out there contributing.
What a chance here for Dumont!
Confidence. Dumont, after that goal he scored in the second period, has got a ton of it. This is a goal scorer's move. He freezes Boucher with a sort of a fake slap. Look at that backhand pass right up the middle. You know things are going good. Freezes him with that fake and then just throws it right on the ice. Boucher looks rusty here again. Very tough situation for Boucher to come into the game. Southwest Airline goal count. Let's see what it looks like. Can't really see Dumont through Boucher there, but great fake. Freezes him. That pretty well covers it right there, Billy. One of those days, man. Should have stayed in bed.
Slant back for a play to be made by Fedotenko. Dumped behind through Fedoruk. Net dislodged behind Dominic Hasek. A 7-0 contest. Just decisive, and the numbers of one team get harmed greatly when you look at them over the course of the summer just by the lopsided nature of this game, and the numbers of the other look much better.
Well, we showed the numbers at the start of this game, how close they were. The minutes they were leading, goals, shots, everything was right tight. Watch that fake right there, froze Boucher, and right along the ice. The hardest thing for a goaltender to move is his feet. Again, that's a talented goal scorer that made that shot. He's confident now. He's got 2 goals going into the next series. That's great news for the Buffalo Sabres, I'll tell you.
Shatan with a beautiful pass. Kalinin also gets an assist on the 7th Buffalo goal.
Shatan's been everywhere tonight.
He has. As a matter of fact, he might have about 40 minutes in this. Here's Foley. Miroslav Shatan, another great move by the Buffalo Sabres, the leading goal scorer in the entire '92 Olympics. That saw an incredibly talented team, one of the finest teams I've ever seen play, the unified team, in which a dozen and a half guys wound up playing in the NHL within a couple of years later. Just a wonderful team, but Shatan was representing Slovakia, scored 9 goals in 8 games.
That Buffalo scoring now, 3 years in a row, Mike? So it's not a fluke. He's a real goal scorer. And the year they went to the finals, he did not score a goal in the finals, I believe. That was a huge loss for them. This year, they don't have to rely on one man like Shatan. They've got 5 or 6 guys now that put the puck in the net consistently. That's a different Buffalo Sabre team. Still very good defensively. Still got the great goaltender, but many more weapons offensively.
All of the goal scorers today, except Andrechuk, who was a free agent signing, were traded for by Darcy McGear.
Shidnick was traded for. Fennegenov on the ice. 61 was a draft. Hines was traded for. Warner was traded for. Those are good deals, folks. When you're a good team, you look out on the ice, and half your guys are drafted, and the other half are good trades.
Donald Audette was traded for 1 minute before the deadline was up. That's called working quickly. They got the call from Atlanta. Looked like the trade was going to materialize. two lines leading into Darcy Regier, the general manager's office. His secretary was on one of them. He was on with Atlanta on the other, and they had to file it by calling the league. He came out of the office and said, "Get off the line, get off the line."
Yes, he did.
They got it put through. Let's hear from Joe Micheletti.
Mike, thanks very much. You know, so many times we see Dominik Hasek down on the ice, taking everything away down low with his stick down. Here's the look at the stick, and this gives you an idea of what he does prior to every game. See this area here? He shaves all this down before each game, so that what happens, as I switch hands here, is that he holds the stick in his right hand, and by shaving this down, he can then put this down flat on the ice, and it takes everything away down low. That's just one of the great talents of Dominik Hasek. Mike, Barry?
Obviously, he's a pretty good carpenter, too. That's some nice workmanship right there. You see the paddle go down. You see a lot of goaltenders now go to that style with the paddle down. They also use the shaft of the stick. We saw Parada hit the shaft of the Czechmanik stick in the first period with that paddle down style. Goaltending has changed drastically the last 15, 20 years, physically and how they play.
Shipnick, a shot blocked away by Boucher. Gets a sarcastic bit of applause from the Sabres fans.
Those fans, I love them. Poor kid. You got to feel sorry for Boucher.
Those sticks of Hasek, are they tailored like a skater stick would be? I mean, does he just take them out of the box and tape them and go?
No, he's probably done all that work that Joe showed us by hand with a rasp and with some sandpaper. Most players don't let anyone else work on their sticks. They work on them themselves.
Oh, here's a shot saved by Hasek, but our concern now is about Warrener. Puck came up and glanced off his face. Mick Magoo there, and Miroslav Shatan, Jim Pizzatelli, who in his lifetime as a trainer has actually saved the life of a goaltender.
He's a little groggy right there. You see Warner. And again, this is one guy they can't afford to lose. We talked about him and McKee play against the other team's top lines. I'll tell you, a coach can never relax. You're winning 7-0. Everything's going your way, and you can't relax because of a situation like this. Warner takes one high up, off the face, off the cheek. You know, in a split second, you lose your best defensive defenseman. So Coach Lindy Ruff will enjoy this after the game. Him and his assistants will get together, shake each other's hands, and breathe a sigh of relief that they got one win, one round under their belt. But they won't be able to enjoy this because they got to get ready for the team they're playing against next round.
McKee had his jersey pulled. Shaken out in front by Leclerc. Flank out to Leclerc, trying to finesse one in front. The Flyers just want to get some respectability in the score. And we're around the net that time, couldn't get anything generated. Offside call. We're mentioning that trade involving Donald Audette and how Darcy Regier came out of the office. His secretary is on the phone, so she got off the line quickly. They got the trade pulled off right at the deadline with only a few seconds to spare. 10 minutes later, she came back in the office and said, by the way, the guy I hang up on just out there now, that's the owner. John Regas. I was talking to him. I think he called and wanted to know what deals we were doing.
I think Mr. Regas would be very happy that the secretary told him to get off the line. Get a guy like Arnold Audette that can score goals for you. He scored that goal in the first period on that great slap shot. Pure goal scorer, folks.
Richardson a shot, and that padded away by Hasek.
But I wouldn't want to make it a habit of hanging up on Mr. Regas. Mr. Regas, I'm sorry.
You want to make sure you have a good excuse anyway, and that's how they did.
Yeah, exactly.
Icing touch up here. Early stages, third period. If you're just joining us, you may be shocked. 4 in the first, 2 in the second, 1 here in the third. Next Saturday, ABC Sports brings you more Stanley Cup playoff action. The conference semifinals at 3 Eastern. Check your local listings for the game live in your area. ABC Sports, home of the Stanley Cup. You mentioned the Sabres uniforms. You like these better than the old ones?
Yeah.
You didn't like the one with the buffalo on the front?
I like colors. I like the powder blue just ain't a real tough color. You know? I like blacks and reds and blues. Some fire in there. I'm not a real powder blue or teal guy.
So the Nordiques...
no, those are ugly. Those are ugly. Those are bad. Vancouver, the old jerseys. Bad.
Point up what you said. Hines is just now checking his right leg as he skates back to center. Looked like Fedoruk might have gotten him a little bit there. But here is Audette, and we're going to... Fedoruk's going right into the bench area.
Fedoruk chased Audette to the bench.
Wound up in the bench itself. Now notice Rob Ray and Civilian close behind there. He wants to get a good look.
Oh, man.
Rob Ray was a healthy scratch today, but he's healthily close to the bench, though he didn't get involved.
Up to here in off-road is no time to discover your truck's off-road package is little more than decals, when what you really need is a burly, overbuilt suspension, solid steel and high-tech composite skid plates, big honking 17-inch wheels and special tires. Dodge Ram Off-Roadster. It draws a very definitive line in the mud. Now get up to $2,000 cash allowance or low APR financing on Dodge Ram.
Nicknames can tell a lot about a hockey player. There's a bunch of lefties, a few hitmen, some blades, and reds, and shooters. But there's only one Mr. Hockey, Gordie Howe.
Hey, nothing beats an original. Original Coors, brewed with Rocky Mountain water.
Mr. Cup, meet Mr. Beer.
From spring to fall, it's in the air. It's allergy season. That's why there's Claritin for 24-hour non-drowsy relief. Claritin has a low occurrence of side effects, such as headache, drowsiness, fatigue, and dry mouth, similar to sugar pill. So from the time you warm up early in the morning, through those extra innings late at night, when the ump yells, "Play ball!" you'll be ready. Talk to your doctor about Claritin.
Oh, we had some fire right there. Fedorik's out in the ice, and something happened on the far side of the wall. And Fedorik took just a beeline for the Buffalo bench going after, I think it was Woolley, who's just jumping onto the bench right there. Now watch Fedorik come right in there and trying to get a Woolley, but he's got half the Buffalo team. Jidnick grabs him, and Hines has got him, and Warner's got him, and McKee's there. And as you just mentioned, Rob Ray was coming in with this civics on, his civil clothes right there. He's staying close to the bench now. Rob, you better stay here in case something bad happens.
Remember in a playoff game between the Rangers and Los Angeles in 1980, I believe it was, that Nick Patillo happened to be in civilian clothes for the Rangers, a similar player to that of Rob Ray, and got involved down near the short glass at the Forum in Inglewood.
I can guarantee you that Ranger team, Nick Patillo without skates on, was the toughest player on that team. It was not a real tough team, that Ranger team.
Here is Recchi shoveling one in front that went behind Gagne. Tapped to the slot by Primo and just advanced ahead for control by Curtis Brown. CB, as he's known here, on to Verana, but that one cut, laid back out by Jody Hall. Hawk continues to wind down on the series here in the Philadelphia Flyers season. It was just a 500 team when Bill Barber took over on December the 10th, but did it ever get better? It improved in all sorts of major categories, and it had a glimmer of hope at times in this playoff series, but today it's just been dominance by the Buffalo Sabres. Afinogenov carried back off. Puck came to the back. Warrener flipped one. Good to see Warrener back out there after being gonged. Laid back ahead now for Ranheim. Ranheim flips one. Manderville deflected one, but it didn't find its way past Tosek. Cranked all the way back down and on goal.
You know it's your night when you take a slapper from behind your net and it hits the middle of the net bouncing. Everything's going the Sabres' way tonight.
There'll be icing here against Philadelphia, and the clock stopped.
Again, this is a timing play. Philadelphia Flyers, the one man's taking it wide. He's throwing it at the front of the net, trying to make the puck go in that area at the same time the Philly player Manderville gets there. Ranheim threw it. Actually, this line has been one of the best lines for Philadelphia. Hull, Ranheim, and Manderville. Just a little bit too high. He couldn't get his stick on it, but again, Hasek comes over with that style of his. Two-pad slide, as Panger would say, and makes a great save. Puck's laying in the middle. Andrechuk picks it up. Slap shot down the ice right in the middle of the net.
Never had a goalie coach until he got to North America. His first skates were actually blades that he borrowed that were already slapped onto the bottom of street shoes. That was how he got a chance to at least play hockey for the first time back in the Czech Republic.
Well, you can probably tell he's never had a goalie coach the way he plays. He's so unorthodox. He didn't have a coach when he was young to tell him not to do these bad things. He just stopped the puck and got good at it.
Here is Barnes handing over to Chatan. Chetan with a shot that deflected one.
The shake and bake by Chetan there. 4 or 5 head fakes, walking in the middle, just couldn't get the real shot to the net.
Here's Sikora, jammed it back out, and Jitney. Gratton, Gilmore, Audette, Andrichuk, and Hines with single goals. Dumont with a pair for Buffalo.
Every player that scored has been traded to the Buffalo Sabres.
If you count Andrichuk being a free agent.
Oh, that's right. He was drafted by the Sabres initially. Right.
Yeah, so that one.
First round pick years ago.
Dropped over for Chetan again. Save made by Boucher, and he covers and then lost. So Hull back. Under 11 minutes to go. They have loved hockey in Buffalo since they got it. 1970. Hunt Chimlock was involved in the start of this franchise, and they played at a wonderful old place not far from here called the Odd. You can see one from the other. My partner could throw a baseball that far. I could when I was in high school, but no longer.
No, it's about the third of the size of this building.
Hines popped one in the air off Boucher, and he is able to hang on. Let's take a look at the Coors storyline. Chetan with 3 assists. He ties Turgeon for the playoff scoring lead now. Pierre Turgeon of St. Louis with 9 points. Dumont a couple of goals.
Well, let's look at what happened here. The onslaught, that's a Gratton goal. It was tipped. Right here, Gilmore, lucky bounce off Richardson's skate. There's the goal scorer's goal, and then a rocket over the glove. There's the timing play, Woolley, Andrichuk. There's Dumont's breakaway goal. Here's Hines' goal. Boucher just came into the game. Here's the second goal of Dumont. Great play by a goal scorer. Roman Cechmanek is very happy sitting at the end of that bench. What a year this guy had. Won't win the Rookie of the Year because he's too old. He's over 26. He's 30 years old. In March, he turned 30. But you've got to think the Flyers have a pretty solid goaltender for the next few years.
Here's McGillis walking it ahead. Got it on to Primo for a shot, deflected away. Unbeknownst to Keith Primo, his brother Wayne was injured today in his playoff game for Pittsburgh and has not been able, we understand, to finish that game. So it's a knee injury. Both Primos are having a hard time with knees, but Keith has been a game trooper and has really rallied Philadelphia to get back into this series and be only one behind with his appearance in Game 3. P.J. Stock handed that to Desjardins and back on to Mark Recchi. Recchi crosses and shoots one that Hasek was able to get a slight piece of, just enough to deflect wide. Menderville a shot, and Hasek is seeing everything right now. His team just coasting along.
Perfect host for your e-business applications? Someone who helps you stay cool, calm, and collected. Even when a few million guests decide to drop in. Someone from Generation D. Web hosting from WorldCom, Generation D. Its springs are heavy. Its shocks are large. Its tires are big. Its axles are strong. Its gear ratios are gutsy. This truck should be taken off the road. Dodge Ram Off-Roadster. Now get up to $2,000 cash allowance or low APR financing on Dodge Ram.
Here's your WorldCom great save of the day. Roman Turek has been terrific for St. Louis. First he stops Nolan, then Hannon on the rebound. And as the defenseman, he moves in. The puck sort of pinballs around off the pad. He's got it, he's got it. No, Al McInnes helps out, forces Hannon to miss the puck. We know you guys haven't seen too many of those. That's called a save.
No, indeed. Shutouts all over right now.
A couple funny guys in the studio.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
They have time on their hands, too. 7 goals by Buffalo, most of the Sabres in a playoff game since April of '92. Game 6 of their division semifinal, a 9-3 win over Boston. Offside signaled by Kevin Collins.
What do you think? We should start talking about it, Mike?
Sure. I don't think Dom would mind.
Dominic Hasek's got a shutout going. For you people that are new to the game, a shutout, when a person has a shutout going, you never talk about it. It's considered bad luck. It's considered taboo. That bench, it won't be mentioned. No one's going back to Dominic Hasek saying, Dom, you got a shutout going. We're going to really play hard for you. So everyone's just, it's in the back of their minds that Dominic's got one going. It's in the back of his mind. It's certainly not a big deal to him if he gets it. He would love to have a shutout in the playoffs, but the win is the most important thing.
And health.
Yes.
Well, Hall flips it back on now for the turning Derek Flynn. 8 3/4 minutes to go. Out of play again at the Buffalo Sabres bench. Tomorrow, ABC Sports brings you another collision sport. High-flying motorcycle racing at the EA Sports Supercross. 5 Eastern, 4 Pacific. How do you think they go through a lot of shock absorbers on those in the course of it?
I'd probably say a lot of aspirin, a lot of Tylenol. Got to use a lot of that. That's a bumpy road. Couldn't you smooth that out a bit?
Offside called.
Well, when you're on the bench and you're a Philadelphia Flyer, you do not want a lot of whistles. Buffalo Sabres don't either. They want to get this game over with. They want to shake hands with the Flyers. They want to get to the dressing room. They want to enjoy each other. They want to enjoy how hard they played. And they also want to start getting ready for the next series. 8-1 record, home ice, when they can eliminate an opponent. That's pretty awesome. When they get in this building and they get a chance to put you away, they get the job done. Philadelphia, he dreams of what might have been, what might be in the future.
Well, the only blemish 22 years ago against Pittsburgh. I had a chance to witness Buffalo's very first game on the road in Pittsburgh. Red Kelly was coaching the Penguins. They introduced every Sabre and every Penguin that night before the game. And the one Sabre who got an ovation in Pittsburgh was Reggie Fleming.
Oh, everyone loved Reggie Fleming. Are you kidding? How could you not? Again, even in the old days, it was the tough guys, it was the fans' favorites, the Rob Rays of the world, the PJ Stocks of the world. Those are the people that the fans love because they got such energy and they just got such passion for the game. You always love the tough guys. And speaking of uniforms, those old Pittsburgh powder blue, those were ugly too.
You didn't like
those? Those were bad.
Well, you mentioned
there was a lot of bad jerseys in '67. Those were a lot of bad jerseys.
But you were on defense having the French Connection 14, 11, and 7 coming at you a little bit too.
They beat us in the odd one night. I was defensing for Toronto Maple Leafs, 14-4.
You were on for only 1.
I was -6. But Dan Maloney came to me next day in practice and said, I thought you were great there.
Compared to the other guys?
Compared to the other guys in the team. What a night that was. Gilbert Perreault looked like Gretzky. I think Richie Martin got 3 goals. Larry Playfair got 2 goals that night.
Well, speaking of the old days and some of those great jerseys, let's go back to 1975. Ed Van Impe fires. Bill Barber collects on the rebound. That's game 1 of a final series. Game 3 played in the fog. Bernie Perrant told me he still cannot imagine how the shot by Rene Robert got through because he said, I couldn't see it. And then the big goal, the winning goal in the clincher, came from the hound Bob Kelly. Bill Clement, broadcaster and former player, got the icing on the cake on a pass from Oris Kindrechuk. Jerry Korav mashed Oris Kindrechuk to the glass.
Did you see
They celebrated the goal, and they immediately went over to Kindrechuk and said, get up, get up.
Did you see who was digging the puck out of the net on that first clip, Bill Barber's goal? Our friend Jimmy Schoenfeld, number 6 for Buffalo, was digging the puck out of the net in Barber's goal in that first clip. So Billy Barber scored a lot of goals against a lot of people. I dug the puck out of a lot of nets too, using my own.
14-4, I imagine you did.
It was always the fastest way to center ice that night, giving them a goal. We were never out of our end all night long.
Puck turned to the back, and it's Kalinin trying to trickle one through, and moving ahead with it now. Ranheim gave it back up the wing, brought on by Fedotenko. Offside called, and so a neutralized faceoff to result.
Well, maybe one of the reasons this series is going to be over tonight is some of the Flyers that they were counting on big time just didn't get the job done in this series. Recchi, 2 goals and 2 assists, mainly came at the end of the series. Gagne, same thing, 3 goals, playing with a bad shoulder, playing with a harness. LeClaire is the one guy. They needed more than one goal out of this guy. He's such a great playoff performer. John will be very disappointed with the playoffs. And again, Primo's really only played 4 games. He missed the first 2 games with that knee injury. So Flyers, there are some reasons why this team isn't going to advance.
In such a spontaneous team sport, the absence of Primo meant an awful lot to the scoring totals of the other 3.
And again, you just can't give a guy like Dominic Hasek a 2-game lead. You know, they played great. They got 2 more wins, but Dominic's going to win some games on his own, and he hasn't even really played great in this series, and they're still going to win 4-2. I think that shows what a great team Buffalo is. Very underrated team.
He's going after his 6th playoff shutout.
Had the most in the NHL this year with 11, I think. I think Czechmanek was second with 9. So Dominic Hasek, again, we don't know if he'll be back here next year. It's a team's option if they want him. Joe Micheletti was talking about that, a $9 million team option. It's going to be an interesting decision they make, but I got to think if they go anywhere in the playoffs, you've got to have a goaltender, and Dominic Hasek next year will be a great goaltender just like he is this year.
Well, I like his chances to be back, and I think the other part of what would motivate him if he's back is the fact that he could play once again for his country in the Olympics.
Well, I don't think there's any doubt about it. Dominic Hasek will be the goaltender for the Czech team.
And Roman
Czechmanek could be the backup, just the way it's been the last 7 or 8 years in Czechoslovakia.
This is Sikora.
But now they know the backup can play and win games against NHL players.
Well, that's something that you can't give. Oh, what a shot by Afinogenov, and Boucher is able to cover. And Afinogenov looks straight up at the ceiling.
Well, I'm glad Brian Boucher got that save, because it's been a tough night for that kid. He got thrown to the wolves in this situation. Team was losing 6-0 when he came in. Great save again. Buffalo's very confident right now. He comes across, doesn't know where it is, right in front of him, made the save. Will Brian Boucher be back with Philadelphia next year? Rookie sensation last year. Basically a forgotten man this year with the Philadelphia Flyers. Still 21, 22 years old. Best years are ahead of him. What's the Flyers going to do with him? You don't want a young guy like this not playing at all, you know, playing 10, 15, 20 games a year. So they got some decisions too, Philadelphia.
The keep by Patrick. Led back around for a play to be made by Brown behind the Verada. And Hull on him. To the back now for a shot by Patrick is blocked off by Boucher. 6:20 left to go. Well, Rick Tocchet has had a wonderful career, and you just wonder how much longer he's going to want to go. He seems to be in shape. He seems to be tough. That part has never left his game, but it's been quite a career for him thus far.
Well, there's guys that play 18 years, and there's guys that play 18 years. Rick Tocchet's 18 years are very, very tough, physical, fighting, front of the net, trench warfare type years. He's been beat up. He's beat up a lot of people. He's a great warrior. It will be interesting how much longer that body can take the punishment. And Rick can only play one way. It's not like he can change his style and still be effective. He has to play that way.
Boy, good short side shot by Mark Recchi, but Hasek has gotten that one. He's faced 23. He's come up with 23, and his team's ahead by 7.
Good luck today.
The race. We take the chances. I know the breakdown. Everything is gonna shake it out someday. I know the breakdown. Tell me again, am I awake now, baby? Driven. What drives you? Rated PG-13. Starts this Friday at a theater near you.
Even those who take the high road will face obstacles. I know you're a good driver. It's all the other people on the road.
Rock and roll has got to go.
Now get $1,000 cash allowance or low 0.9 financing on Dodge Stratus.
A few years ago, a 69-year-old man showed up for the season opener in Detroit. But he wasn't there to watch the game. That night, Gordie Howe became the only player in the history of professional hockey to play in 6 decades.
Hey, nothing beats an original. Original Coors, brewed with Rocky Mountain water.
Original Coors, best on ice.
this, few would have expected that it would be this much.
Nobody would have expected it. I'm the smartest guy in hockey, and I never even expected it.
They might have suspected a Hasek shutout this far into a game.
I wouldn't be surprised if one of those goaltenders would have had a shutout, but to be dominated like this, it was pretty shocking.
Andrechuk with a goal and 2 in the first period when they scored 4. They ranked 5 out of 9 past Roman Cechmanek. Bully gave it across to Kalinas. John Rigas has done a marvelous job here since he has come to ownership of this team. They had other owners that were terrific too, the Knox family.
Yep.
He bought out 12 minority partners and is planning a 20 to 30 story high rise complex here for his cable company to have offices and perhaps even a practice rink in it across the street. We want to mention that 40-year celebration of ABC's Wide World of Sports. Special anniversary show presented by Aflac will be coming next Sunday, April 29th on ABC. Was it Nelson Scalbania when he bought the Calgary Flames said any fool can write a $2 million check and buy a hockey team. $2 million. They are in triple digits in terms of millions now. Here's Donald Audette going for another save made by Boucher.
I want to see Brian Boucher make all the saves the rest of the way. Something positive to finish this year off with.
One sent to the front. Brought back ahead now by Therrien. Chris Therrien lofts it back in, and Dominic Hasek goes out to play. Firing it around. On the outlet by Audette.
Chris Therrien had his best year as an NHL player this year. Really emerged as a physical force. The whole Flyer defense, one of the leading goal scorers by a defense, 45 goals. They continued it in the playoffs. They had 4 goals out of 13 by their defensemen. McGillis had a great year. Desjardins continually strong. Richardson another great year, following up the rebound year he had last year. So a lot of positive things for the Philadelphia Flyers to talk about this summer.
Yeah, Luke Richardson at one time was on waivers, but that seems like a long time ago now. With
a lot of teams listening to pick him off those waiver wires. He's a pretty solid defenseman in the NHL now.
Jitnik back on to Andrechuk, and he skyhooks one back in with 3¼ minutes to go. Thrown in front by Vinagatov. He scores! Maxim Vinagatov! 8-0.
If it weren't for bad luck, we'd have no luck at all. Boucher comes out, clears it. He is a good puck handling goaltender. He shoots the puck very well. Tries it up the wall. Afinogenov knocks it down with a stick and just throws it back at the net. Boucher never does get set. Actually, I think Gratton gets this goal again. Watch Gratton touch it as he comes in front. Yes, I believe Gratton gets this goal also. Afinogenov throws it to the net. I think it hit Gratton's stick and went in. That's Afinogenov right there. You'll know Gratton because he's twice as big as Maxim.
Boy, in summing up the afternoon, that goal says it more than anything.
Totally. That goal was the afternoon. You're exactly right, Mike.
Curtis Brown laid it on now for Verana. Offside. You're right. Gratton gets it.
Exactly the same as his first goal. He just touched it enough to change the direction. Boucher was moving. He couldn't recover. Slid right by him. 5th goal of the playoff. Atta boy, Chris. Let's take one more look at it. Now watch Gratton. Just touches Boucher. Not only does he change direction, he slows it down. So it actually became a change-up also. Life is good for Chris Gratton.
You know, earlier I was talking about the small towns in Brantford. You thought I was talking about Gretzky. I was talking about Gratton, where he's from. Played junior hockey as so many of these players did. With Kingston was Gratton's team. One more chance broken down, and so on comes Verana. Verana just waiting. Pivots, took a shove from Desjardins. Freight train down by McGillis, and it's fired wide by Brown.
Good payback there.
Brett Warner wide with a on this. The clock descends now below the 2-minute mark.
I can guarantee you Dominic Hasek will go out and touch a puck. He does not want any more whistles, any icing, any two-line pass. He'll get out and touch it to take the whistle away and take the stoppage away.
They do not need an electronic message board here. Oh, Vanderbilt. Jay McKee.
Reported outside the rink here. Horns are honked and all the fans are driving around that didn't get into this game today. They all got flags on their cars.
Up and again off. Deflected. Up into the seats it goes and play stopped again and another ovation.
Nice hair. It's a great feeling winning a series. You work so hard and pay such a big price and beat a good team like Philadelphia, boy. It's sweet. It's the greatest feeling in the world.
Andy Murray's LA Kings would have to feel the same way. They have won at Joe Louis Arena in Detroit. And they are ahead after being behind 2-0. They are ahead 3-2 in the series going back to Los Angeles. P.J. Stott. Amidst all the singing, Richardson and then LeClaire, and it's blocked off.
Worst song in hockey. Worst song in the world what they're singing right now.
Unless you're singing.
Unless you're singing it, you're right.
Shots for the Flyers. Make that 24. Dominic has got them all. Going for shutout number 6. This is all over, but the shouting, let's hear some of that. You celebrate or you commiserate, and then you shake hands after battling so long. You don't get here without your team having a good year. But when you win, it can become a great year, and that's what's ahead for Buffalo.
One step, the ladder, they're moving up the ladder. They had to get this job done, beating a very good Philly team that actually finished ahead of them. Beat them 4 times during the regular season. Found a way to beat them in the playoffs. Again, Primo missing the first 2 games certainly had an effect on this series, but Buffalo is a very good hockey team, arguably the best goaltender in the world for them. Wasn't really tested. They didn't need him to win a game on his own in this series. Donald Audette, Steve Hines, Curtis Brown had a great series. Bittersweet handshake.
Well, Czechmonic is closing in now on a handshake with Dominic Hasek. and won the series 4-2 with a final of 8-0.
Carry a crowd in the average compact SUV? That's a laugh. But Dodge Durango is different. It gives you best-in-class seating for 8 with the available third seat. So getting all your friends in is an exercise in comfort, not comedy. Durango, different, and just right. Now get a $2,000 cash allowance or low 0.9 financing on Durango.
Chicken, $8.99. Steak, $9.99. New Pepper Jack smothered entrees, only at Fridays. Speed Pass from Mobile. Now you can refuel inside the store, too. It's another way Mobile keeps you ahead.
Well, if we need to do that, we can do that.
What was he thinking?
National TV.
We'll rebuild our infrastructure in 6 months.
He might as well have said we could build infrastructure for the whole country. Right. To do that, we can do that.
We could build an infrastructure for the whole planet.
Come on, guys. It's too guts to make that kind of commitment. Let's get behind it. Let's get fired up. We can do that.
Infrastructure. We actually can do it.
The agony of defeat.
Look at him go! Oh!
Celebrate 40 years of ABC's Wide World of Sports next Sunday at 4 Eastern.
Well, back here in Buffalo, they're thinking about that cylindrical trophy there. They got to the finals in 1975 and just a couple of years ago, too. They think their goaltending's good enough. You can't doubt that. But it's a long haul to get there. This is certainly a dominant game for them, one they needed.
Well, you have to like how they did it. The power play looks great. Again, the goal scorers scored. Lindy Ruff wanted goals from Audette. They wanted goals from Dumont, Hines, players like that. Gilmore was excellent. Andrewchuk excellent at the start. And yet they're still very good defensively. So this team's got a lot of weapons right now.
Well, St. Louis, maybe not a lot was thought of their goaltending going in, but St. Louis has outdueled San Jose. We'll turn to the East first of all. New Jersey with a big game tomorrow down in Carolina ahead 3-2. Toronto has already won. The series tied between the Capitals and Pittsburgh. Buffalo has taken this one.
Well, again, Jersey is a team that's interesting to me. I thought for sure that would be a 4-game series.
Colorado, done. Los Angeles, a surprising lead.
Unbelievable.
Dallas is ahead. A lot of overtime games there, and St. Louis has won.
Well, St. Louis is getting a little bit better goaltending in San Jose. When Nabokov played and won that game, he got hurt after that. Kiprusoff is the man now. Great series also, though.
We've talked a lot about the players that have been developed in the system here in Buffalo, but they got good performance out of a couple of old Cougars here today, too.
Good trades they've made. Dougie Gilmour is one of the most important ones. What a great player.
Let's check in with Doug Gilmour downstairs. He's with Joe Micheletti.
Okay, Mike, Barry Melrose was just talking about the addition to you to this Buffalo Sabres. Tell us how you did it. 4 games, they dominated you guys during the course of the regular season, but you win it in 6. How'd you do it?
Well, I think you got to let everything go. It's a new season, and, you know, we had better series against other teams, obviously, but it's just something when you come into the playoffs, it's you know, like my year was very, very average, and I said, let's forget about that and come on strong here. So, and also they were lacking Keith Primo, so it was a big series for us.
Now, what about you? You were sick last year, so you didn't get a chance to play to your level, but you scored a big goal in this one. Talk a little bit about that goal.
Well, I had a stomach virus last year, and for pretty much 3 weeks I didn't have anything to eat, just intravenous, and it's tough when you're my size to start with. So it was obviously coming in this season, coming into the playoffs, I was in good condition mentally and physically, so I just wanted to take it, you know, obviously a good last run here. So I'm excited right now.
Yeah, but and speaking of excitement, after last season and you were sick, and so you didn't have the kind of playoffs that you wanted to. As you mentioned, a mediocre year for you. Does the thrill of winning in the playoffs make you kind of
sit back a little bit and rethink your possible retirement?
Well, I think I'll reflect on that towards the end here, but I just know the last regular season game coming in, and all of a sudden I was playing center between Hines and Audette, and I was just so, hey, this is life again. I'm excited, and just for me to see the ice and be the playmaker that I want to be, and I was very excited. So hopefully we continue this and start whoever we play next.
Congratulations. Nice job on the first round. Good luck in the second.
Thanks, Joey.
Barry, Mike, back to you.
Okay, Joe, thanks very much. Well, this was Hasek Czechmanic, but tonight we have Belfour and Tommy Salo, and they've both been terrific in an exciting series. ESPN Stanley Cup playoff coverage tonight at 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific. Dallas tries to end it, and the Edmonton Oilers want to try and even this thing up and force a 7.
My favorite series, they go to war, those two teams.
Well, it'll be intriguing to see what develops as these playoffs go on, and ABC and ESPN will be there. This has been a presentation of ABC Sports in association with ESPN. ABC Sports is online at ESPN.com. Now, while most of you can stay tuned for World News Tonight, Saturday, or your local news, up next for those of you on the West Coast coverage of the World Speed Skating Championships. This is ABC Sports, continuing the tradition of excellence. Good afternoon, everybody.
Promotional consideration provided by National Car Rental. Go your own way with National.
You can go your own way. Go your own way.
And now, a Spin City announcement.
According to my wife's book, I'm not good in bed.
Spin City's back.
You can't handle my game.
You want to get tough? You want to play hardware?
With 5 brand new episodes.
It's the bottom of the 4th quarter. You've got 2 strikes and no balls.
It's all new. See you Wednesday on ABC.
Coming up next on Eyewitness News, the Sabres put on quite a show at home. We're live with the very latest for you. Also, protesting free trade in Quebec City and here in the Queen City. We're live with more on that. Plus, Channel 7's Child Fair and Expo is underway at the Convention Center. I'm Luke Moretti. Join me and Maria Gennaro next on Eyewitness News.
Western New York's #1 Toyota dealer for 30 years. Hundreds of Toyotas on 9 acres to choose from. Lease a brand new Camry LE, only $269 per month, or get a $500 rebate on all new Corollas in stock. Stop in and be wowed by our state-of-the-art dealership, award-winning service, parts boutique, theater with fresh popcorn, kids play area, and our exclusive Platinum Plus Awards program. Hurry into Western New York's volume leader and save. Northtown Toyota, 1135 Millersport Highway, just off the 290.
What makes a nursing home a home? The love, caring, and security from the people who work there, day after day, year after year. But today, scarce resources mean staff shortages and threaten the care they give. Less staff, more patients mean a looming crisis.
The toughest part of my job is telling Mrs. Anderson I have to move on to the next patient.
Tell Albany nursing homes need funding to hire more staff now. Tell them you care.
Watch Luke Moretti and Maria Gennaro on Channel 7's Eyewitness News at 5. Live from WKBW TV, you're watching Channel 7's Eyewitness News at 6 with Luke Moretti. Meteorologist Aaron Menkowski with the weather outside, and sports with Aaron Flynn.
Well, the Sabres come up big for the hometown crowd. Good evening, everyone. I'm Luke Moretti.
Hello, Luke. I'm Maria Gennaro. Boy, do they come up big. The Philadelphia Flyers, they were just no match for the Sabres, who now advance to the next round of the Stanley Cup playoffs. Eyewitness News reporter Aaron Flynn is live at HSBC Arena with the very latest on today's big blowout. Aaron.
Yeah, well, Maria, this one was a great one for Buffalo fans and for the Sabres from the start. This team exploded offensively. They scored 4 goals, and that was in just the first period alone. They added a lot more. They dominated from the beginning to the finish to finish off the Flyers in 6. Early in the first, Miro Shatan shot. Chris Gratton tips it in past Roman Czechmanic. The Sabres lead 1-0. Now up 3-0 in the first. Jason Woolley, the shot Dave Andrechuk deflected it in. The power play goal made it 4-0, and the Sabres win this one 8-0. Incredible, and the Sabres take this series. 4 games to do to advance to the second round. Of course, I'll have much more highlights and post-game reaction coming up in sports. Back to you in the studio.
I'm sure you will. All right, thank you, Aaron.
In other news, riot police are using tear gas, nightsticks, and water cannons to keep protesters under control on the second day of the Summit of the Americas in Quebec City. Hundreds of demonstrators are throwing rocks, bottles, and other debris at security forces who are protecting summit leaders. Ann Compton tonight with the very latest on that.
In Quebec, a day of sharp contrasts for the Summit of the Americas. Water cannons were brought to the police front lines to beat back small gangs of rock throwers intent on breaching the same security fence they toppled 24 hours earlier. When water didn't work, tear gas usually did, although protesters came to Quebec well armed with gas masks and a will to resist the establishment. Far larger and far more peaceful was today's highly organized march to a Quebec park. It had been planned for weeks, hundreds of printed signs, thousands of labor union marchers, all coordinated through a sophisticated website. The message, free trade comes at the expense of the poor. By contrast, presidents and prime ministers attending the summit posed high above the 17th century rooftops of old Quebec. And in an elegant Hilton hotel, President Bush launched the day's attention to trade.
Free and open trade creates new jobs and new income. It lifts the lives of all our people.
Not all the summit partners are convinced. Brazil and some Caribbean leaders think benefits will flow mainly to the United States.
I'm here to learn and to listen from voices to those inside this hall and to those outside this hall who want to join us in constructive dialogue.
Dialogue out on the street remained critical. Highly organized protests have become a standard feature of economic international summits like this one. Inside, promises to tear down barriers to trade. Outside, tactics to tear down barriers to power. Ann Compton, ABC News, Quebec City.
Now, President Bush says leaders meeting in Quebec should work to build an age of prosperity in the Americas. Maria.
Well, Luke, so far demonstrations here in Buffalo have remained peaceful, but both police and protesters are gearing up for the big event, and that's tomorrow afternoon. Eyewitness News reporter Sharon Osorio brings us the very latest from Front Park. Sharon.
Maria, some of the protesters are right now going through civil disobedience training to learn what to do, how to react if there is a conflict with police tomorrow here at Front Park. Police have been doing some of the same things themselves, but so far, no conflict this weekend, and that's how police and protesters say they like it. Nutmeg Doherty is one of about 60 people spending their morning in front of the DuPont plant in the town of Tonawanda. They're rallying against corporations that they say are cutting and moving jobs. I care very deeply. I can't seem to stop caring very deeply about people, about jobs, and about the environment.
This protest is one of several here this weekend, tied into the protests in Quebec City for the Summit of the Americas.
What do we want? Justice! When do we want it? Now!
And while their reasons for demonstrating may be the same, some are concerned the protests here will also turn violent. Cops are keeping a close eye on the action.
I would rather be more prepared than underprepared. So we're here, we're available. We have other resources that are available to us if needed.
Still, both police and demonstrators say this weekend is so far running smoothly.
I think it's been going fairly well. Protesters and police have both been acting fairly responsive.
I don't think you're going to see much violence here. Violence isn't going to solve anything. We're not going to do anything with bombs or tear gas. I mean, we've got to get our message out.
Now, the reason protesters have chosen Buffalo, and in particular here at Front Park, is because it is at the foot of the Peace Bridge, expected to have some protests on the other side of the bridge at Mather Park. Now, there are no permits for them to be on the Peace Bridge itself protesting, but again, both sides are preparing and hoping for the best.
Live at Front Park, Sharon Osorio, Channel 7 Eyewitness News.
Sharon, any idea how many people were expecting to show up for the big event tomorrow?
Well, some people say hundreds, some people say more than that. Really no idea how many people are here. But as they're doing in Quebec, there's also an internet system. Many people finding out what's going on through the internet, so they might just start showing up for tomorrow's event.
All right, Sharon Osorio reporting live tonight. Thanks for the update on that. A high-speed crash in the town of Elma has left one man dead. It happened just after 4 yesterday. Erie County sheriffs say 19-year-old Patrick Roboleski of Akron was traveling at a speed of more than 80 miles an hour on Bullis Road when he passed another vehicle in a no-passing zone, lost control, and struck 3 trees. The force of the crash caused Roboleski's Corvette to disintegrate on impact and spread debris over several hundred feet. Bullis Road was closed for about 4 hours as crews cleared that road.
All right. Let's check in with Tracy Humphrey. She's outside right now with our first look at the weather. Has it stopped raining, Tracy?
Well, Maria, right now we're still looking at some drizzle across the area, but most of that rainfall has moved out of western New York, and what you're going to see build in behind it, very mild temperatures, and if you like the sound of 80s, I got 80s coming up in just a few moments. Take a look right now at your Doppler radar, and we're going to show you that line of showers that move through the area. Again, we picked up almost 2/10 of an inch, and the bulk of it is right now exiting our area. Back behind it, we are looking for maybe a couple sprinkles here or there, but most notably nothing but variable clouds. Your forecast for tonight, we're looking for, again, variable clouds in the forecast right now at the airport, 58 degrees, 55 for your dew point, humidity 90%, barometer right now at 30.04 and falling, and winds are out of the south at 10 miles per hour. Now, Maria, I just alluded to the fact that we're looking at record high temperatures coming up in the full weather outside. I'll tell you when you can expect those 80s and how long they'll last. I'll see you then.
Oh, see, there's the catch. You can expect them in July, right, Tracy?
Yeah, I can appreciate 80-degree weather, and I think a lot of people can.
I'm ready.
It's been a long winter. No
It sure has.
Well, when we come back, the Channel 7 Child Fair and Expo is in full swing.
We're going to take you there in just a minute.
Johnson steps out of the batter's box and calls time. We've all seen this ritual before. Bat. Now's the he could be here a while. He steps in, and he's called time again.
The Time Cutter Z from Toro. So maneuverable, you can cut your lawn in half the time it takes with other mowers. So you won't miss out on the things you enjoy.
Time called again by Johnson. That's the beauty of the game, folks. There's no time limit.
Jump into the big sales event at Northtown Toyota, Western New York's #1 Toyota dealer for 30 years. Hundreds of Toyotas on 9 acres to choose from. Lease a brand new Camry LE, only $269 per month, or get a $500 rebate on all new Corollas in stock. Stop in and be wowed by our state-of-the-art dealership, award-winning service, parts boutique, theater with fresh popcorn, kids play area, and our exclusive Platinum Plus Awards program. Hurry into Western New York's volume leader and save. Northtown Toyota, 1135 Millersport Highway, just off the 290. This broadcast of Channel 7's Eyewitness News is closed captioned for the hearing impaired.
Well, it's the annual spring vacation event. It's Channel 7's Child Fair and Expo, and it is underway right now this weekend.
The event is now in its 12th year, and it gets better all the time. And it's a chance for the whole family to have some fun and maybe a few laughs. Rides, attractions, and shows all under one roof at the Buffalo Convention Center.
It's the 4-letter term for soybean curd that can be used to make cheesecake and even hot dogs.
The answer is Channel 7's Child Fair and Expo, where brainiacs can test their knowledge in Jeopardy tryouts. Jude Smithers can't wait.
I'm ready.
You've been practicing in your living room? And
Everything.
Yeah.
I win every day.
There's plenty for the kids, everything from face painting
I'm gonna get a unicorn.
to this gigantic sinking ship.
I'll go down the Titanic slide.
That's right, the legendary ship on its final dip beneath the ocean. And there's just one way out, down the slide. And for those with a bit of the TV bug, why not make a tape with your favorite Channel 7 personalities? Lights, camera, action. Kids lined up for the chance of being on camera, and it's all caught on a tape they get to keep. And if you're really feeling ambitious, how about the Bob Love Basketball Clinic and some tips from the former Chicago Bulls player?
You got to practice number one, you got to know how to run, you got to know how to jump, and you have to know how to shoot the basketball. If you do those things, yeah, right. And you got to be tall too.
and pretty if you're the real-life Barbie who's been signing autographs all day long. So whether it's food, fun, or a train run, the 12th annual Channel 7 Child Fair and Expo is quite a ride, where kids always have the last word.
Back to you in the studio.
How about that? The Child Fair and Expo continues tonight and tomorrow at the Buffalo Convention Center. It's just $5 for adults and $2 for children between 2 and 12 and seniors, plus kids under 2 get in free.
Look out, he's after your job.
He's coming for the job. That's all right.
When we come back in just a few minutes, Earth Day celebrations. They're just sprouting up all over Western New York.
And Tracy Humphrey on the outside with the hometown AccuWeather forecast. We'll be right back.
The AccuWeather forecast on Channel 7's Eyewitness News is brought to you by Lipsitz, Green, Ferringer, Roll, Salisbury, and Cambria. If you have been seriously injured, call Lipsitz, Green, Ferringer, Roll, Salisbury, and Cambria, the choice of hundreds of lawyers for their injured clients for over 35 years. Call 855-9999 for a free consultation. Lipsitz, Green, Ferringer, Roll, Salisbury, and Cambria. 42 Delaware Avenue, Suite 300, Buffalo.
Introducing the all-new AutoVision entertainment system. Now playing in a WinStar near you.
Get $2,000 cash back or 0.9 APR financing for up to 60 months on a 2001 WinStar. Only at your local Ford store.
When we built our house, we found a lot that was just perfect.
Yeah, well, it was the worst sight I'd ever seen.
We love the view, and the sunsets are incredible.
The weather is brutal.
It had everything.
Earthquakes, tidal waves, horizontal rain.
We wanted lots of windows.
I insisted on Anderson windows.
At Anderson, we appreciate the builders who, time after time, make it look easy.
We're still in love with this house.
And I'm still recovering.
Worry-proof, time-proof. Anderson Windows.
The CR-V from Honda. It'll take you to the mountains. It'll take you to the beaches. It'll take you to the desert. It'll take you just about anywhere. But it won't take you to the cleaners. The CR-V, another special value now at your Honda dealer. For a limited time, get special APR financing as low as 3.9% for 36 months on new CR-Vs.
I know whoever walks in these doors is going to drive away very happy.
Head down to Relax Honda and make your drive one to remember. It's time for the hottest indoor springtime event, Channel 7's Child Fair and Expo, April 21st and 22nd at the Buffalo Convention Center.
It's awesome.
Don't miss Barbie, the Jeopardy Brain Bus. Announce the weather inside and ride the rides.
It's fun for the whole family.
It's free for kids 2 and under, $5 for adults and $2 for seniors and kids 2 to 12, plus free parking. See you at the Channel 7 Child Fair and Expo, April 21st and 22nd.
See you there.
Well, the dreary weather today didn't stop people in Genesee County from celebrating Earth Day.
That's right. Genesee County Park was the site for all sorts of activities. The focus today was on community volunteer projects to improve the park. Volunteers planted gardens, cleaned up trails of the stream. Local environmental agencies also presented displays on recycling, erosion control, and wildlife rehabilitation.
And hundreds of volunteers came out to clean up the shores of Skajackwada Creek near Buff State. Businesses, block clubs, and community volunteers all helped out in the effort. The underwater recovery team pulled out all kinds of things from the river, like bicycles and shopping carts. Organizers say this spot is one of the nicest places in Buffalo to bring the whole family.
What we're here to remind people is that if you throw something down on the ground, it's going to wind up someplace, and this is where it winds up. So let's respect our earth a little bit more than we do and teach our kids better habits.
Absolutely. Also, an Earth Day celebration is set for tomorrow from 11 in the morning till 5 in the afternoon at Buff State. Okay.
And look who's here, Tracy Humphrey on the outside tonight. I got to tell you, I want to know more about that 80-degree weather you were
I
talking
know, I'm teasing you, right?
Yep.
I know you like to wear shorts.
I'm all ear. Oh, we're going to go into that shorts thing again?
I couldn't resist.
I know.
Okay, let's take a look right now at your almanac for today, and we're going to talk about your today's high temperature, also what you typically see this time of the year, and way above high temperatures for this time of the year. Today's high, 63, that came shortly before 1 o'clock this afternoon. Low of 47, that was earlier this morning. Average high is around 56 and an average low of 38. Your record high, 57, a record high rather 84, a record low of 21. You can see last year on today's date, a temperature of 57 and a low in the mid-40s. We're going to start off again with a look at your radar and talk about the fact that we are looking at one line of showers right now that is moving through the area. Those showers will again continue to be a part of your forecast overnight tonight, but not a major or big concern. Something else coming along with those showers, the fact that we are looking at a good deal of cloud coverage that's going to be sweeping across the area as well. Those clouds are going to linger throughout the night, but we're looking for most of them to move out by this time tomorrow. We do have a warm front coming through the area. That's what triggered those showers. That is also what's going to give us very warm temperatures. But do note, a cold front will be coming through as well. So a lot of changes in your forecast, and you're going to see that when your 7-day AccuWeather forecast. Let's take a look at your forecast again for tonight. Just to recap, we're calling for a low temperature in the mid-50s. Rain showers are expected, also mostly cloudy conditions. Winds out of the southwest at 15 to 20 miles per hour. Tomorrow, high temperature 70 degrees. That's about 15 to 20 degrees above normal. Clouds and sunshine. Local showers are expected. Also continued breezy with a west to southwest wind at 10 to 20 miles per hour. Tomorrow night, calling for a low temperature in the mid-50s, partly cloudy and a chance of evening rain. Your 7-day AccuWeather forecast showing 70 projected again for tomorrow, 74 for Monday. I'm being conservative. Some areas may get near 80 degrees for Monday. I shade back my temperature so everyone should see at least the mid-70s. Things change going into Tuesday. Cold front comes in. We go back down to the mid-60s, then the mid-50s, and then things start to steadily moderate back up toward the end of next week. So a very changeable forecast over the course of the next couple of days. And again, we are looking for near 80-degree temperatures for Monday, and I'm all over that. Let's look at your weather right now for you sports. Here's Aaron Flynn.
We're coming to you live from HSBC Arena, where the Sabres finished this series off strong. Buffalo controlled this one from the get-go, exploding offensively. The Flyers just didn't have anything today. The Sabres scored 6 goals on just 11 shots, and that wasn't just the first 2 periods alone. They would add on to that. They chased Roman Cechmanek, and then their backup Brian Boucher, they worked him over as well. The Sabres finished this series off strong and sending Philadelphia home and heading on to the second round of this playoff series. The fans, well, they were excited today, and they saw a great one. They were not disappointed. The first, Miro Shatan with the shot. Chris Gratton gets it past Cechmanek, and the Sabres go up 1-0. Buffalo on the power play. Dave Andrechuk, the pass to Doug Gilmour. The Sabres were up 2-0. Later, still in the first period, James Patrick blocks the shot, a great one. Then Donald Audette winds up and fires this one past Roman Cechmanek. Buffalo up 3-0. About a minute to go in the first. Sabres in the power play. Jason Woolley with the shot. Dave Andrechuk deflects it in. Buffalo led 4-0 at the end of the first period. Now in the second, J.P. Dumont steals the puck and chases Cechmanek in this one. Unbelievable. The Sabres take the series 4-2. They just dominated this one from the start.
We came hard in the first, and anything we shot, it went into the net. It was a couple of very good shots, and they had maybe one chance the whole first period. We were all over the ice, and we scored the goals.
For us, it came down to this game tonight, and again, it was a big effort from everybody.
A big effort. They win 8-0 in other NHL playoff action this afternoon. Pittsburgh goes up 3-1 in their series. LA wins to lead their series 3-1. And the Blues also win today, and they win their series. Well, the Sabres wrap one up here in exciting fashion at HSBC Arena to make it to the second round of the playoffs. And also a busy day for sports. The NFL draft is today, and the Bills trying to bolster their team to make it back into the postseason. And with our coverage there is sports director John Murphy, live at One Bills Drive. Murph?
All right, Aaron, thanks. We're live at One Bills Drive. You know, the Bills may have wanted a defensive lineman with their first pick in today's draft, but there was a run on defensive linemen early in the first round. 7 of the first 13 picks today were defensive linemen. When the Bills' turn came, 14th pick overall, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers gave them a call, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers wanted to swap picks. They got an extra pick, a second rounder, and they moved 7 spots down. They get help for the defense with their 21st pick overall. The Bills get help in the defensive backfield. The first-round pick for the Bills, cornerback Nate Clements from the Ohio State University. Good size, 5 feet 10 inches tall, 190 pounds, native of the Cleveland area. And in Nate Clements, the Bills think they've got a guy who has good size and will be able to help.
But athletically, he was just what you're looking for at the position. He's 209 pounds, and he has the ability to catch the ball like a wide receiver. So, you know, when you put the combination of size, speed, and special teams, that's what made him very attractive for us.
Here's a 5'11" quarter, or 5'11" and a corner, fourth corner that can run, that weighs 209, runs a 4.37, 4.39 on our watch. Now, you can't coach fast, you can't coach big.
I like the fact that he's aggressive. I'd rather have the opportunity to start backing away from that than trying to get somebody to do that.
Clements, the first cornerback selected in the draft today, says he expected to be the first cornerback selected in the draft, and he got the news by phone from his home outside Cleveland.
As you can see, like when I was at Ohio State, I'm versatile. It's like me and my dad was talking about, it's like a 2-for-1 sale. You get a cover man, hard hitter, as well as punt return, kickoff return. So you get a lot of packages with me.
Second round, the Bills with 2 picks thanks to the trade with Tampa Bay. The first pick in the second round, they get defensive end Aaron Schobel from TCU, 6'3.5", 261 pounds, a quick outside pass rush man, and the Bills can use that. The draft started shortly after noon today. The first 5 picks. Atlanta gets quarterback Michael Vick thanks to the trade with San Diego yesterday. Arizona goes with offensive tackle Leonard Davis. Cleveland starts the run on defensive lineman with Gerard Warren from Florida, the first of 9 D linemen to go in the first round. Then Justin Smith in San Diego gets LaDainian Tomlinson, the running back from TCU. They also got Drew Brees in the second round. Bills with 3 picks remaining, including a second rounder minutes from now. Live from One Bills Drive, I'm John Murphy. Let's send it back to Luke and Maria in the studio.
All right, Murph, thanks. Nice to see you back in the saddle again.
We'll be right back. Didn't see him all week.
Nissan Pathfinder SE for $339 a month. Another best reason to drive one. Offer ends April 30th. Nissan. Driven.
Good morning, kids.
Nice swimsuit, Dad. Yuck! I thought they only wore those in the Olympics. Ew! Gross!
Oops! I knew I should have tied the drawstring.
Walmart is having its annual pre-season sale now through Sunday. Save big on all pool, spas, and patio furniture. Buy now and get the lowest prices of the year at Walmart's annual pre-season sale. Walmart, your 4-season family fun store. All 4 locations open for business.
You really ought to get it at Walmart.
At Troyer Farms, our products are simply better. They're out of this world. Get ready for crunch time.